Chapter 4940. Chapter 4940. The void roared, and the real war broke out. It was even more violent than when Long Fei fought the Dragon Court. After all, when Long Fei took the lead first, even the saints could only retreat, and then summoned the Lord of the endless starry sky, basically sweeping the heavens and crushing the saints. But now it's different. The return of the saints has doubled. Even now there are many masters in Longting, and they can only resist in front of a few people. You are too weak. Now you know what the Tao is. It is not something you can handle. Tong Tian sneered. Shit. At the time, my dad was alone. The hard way of the six of you. Why don't you beep? Neza said mercilessly. He was not in the First World War, but Long Fei's glorious history. He would definitely understand. Tong Tian's face sank. For him, the First World War was undoubtedly a shame to the saint. One person, Long Fei, directly stirred the wind and rain, and cooperated with Win and the one who appeared inexplicably to force the heavens to have to hide. To them, this matter is undoubtedly a shame. What you did was the same. Now, if you let Long Fei come out and try, Ben Sheng beheaded him. Tong Tian's voice was cold and full of disdain. Between the words, the four swords in his hands were full of strength, as if they wanted to show their strength in front of Neza and Yang Ju. Dream your spring and autumn dreams. He also chopped my dad, your sword, even the little master. Neza was not convinced, and the red pistol gun in his hand suddenly became full of light. A shot stabbed, and the infinite force burst out, blocking the killing of the four swords of the immortal in front of him. Yang Yen was silent, but the light of the gods' eyes became brighter. On the other hand, the monkeys fight one by one against the embankment. The iron rod crosses the sky, and it collides with the blessing pestle in the hands of Juandi again and again. The vast power directly hits Qingming, and the sky falls apart. The mighty Qingming fell directly from the Dragon Court, and the endless elements of heaven and earth fell from this hollow into the world. Monkey, dare you shoot at this deity? Juandi sighed angrily. Dare? There is nothing in the world that old sun dares not do. As it happens, now the old sun's path has reached the extreme, and you just use it to break the true meaning of boundlessness. The monkey's eyes were brightened, and the eyes of fire were filled with boundless warfare, said coldly, the borderless way, the joke is endless, and the galaxy has its shores. Today is your end point. Juandi said coldly, disdainful in his eyes. That's your world. What's up with your grandson? Give me death. The monkey paused briefly and decisively shot again during the scolding. For a while, the power of endless fury erupted in the void. The most violent battle was still the battle between son-in-law and Tushan Xiaoya. Tushan Xiaoya condensed the 9 tails, and she really has the power to take the lead against the sky. Even if the son-in-law is now much stronger than the original, he can still compete. Damn, a demon has such power. Nuwa hated it. Tushan Xiaoya's strength made her lose face. I thought I could suppress Tushan Xiaoya at will, but I was more and more frightened. In the end, I found that there was no power to suppress it. Evildoer? Son-in-law, don't forget, you are also a demon. Tushan Xiaoya smiled charmingly. Her voice was infinitely cold, as if to the son-in-law's attitude, extremely unhappy, presumptuous. This palace is the demon emperor, but you have been a little fox, and dare to compare it with this palace? Nuo Ning's eyes were frozen, and she said coldly, so what? The heavens and gods have all passed away, and the saints are not invincible. What can you bring to you? Tushan Xiaoya responded, and then 9 tail respectively affected the void, and all the forces of heaven were directly drawn out along this force, which could not cause any substantial harm to Tushan Xiaoya. It can be said that Tushan Xiaoya's combat power has soared all the way, that is, he is better than the three emperors, and Nesh Yanyan. Even when Long Fei is here, he will definitely feel amazing. This power, this method, is absolutely against the sky. But unfortunately, the high-end combat power of Long Ting now is a little bit bigger than the Six Saints of Heaven, and it can't hold it, except for Tushan Xiaoya, who was able to overcome the pressure. The rest were resisting, that is, Li Yu carrying the first weather, and using Fang Tian Dili, at this time facing the mastery of the Supreme Master Yuan. He only said that it was comparable. But this gap is huge. Even if we can resist it now, it won't take long before it will collapse. And once they couldn't carry it, the only thing waiting for Long Ting was to destroy it. This battle has also completely transformed the world of myth into a world of disaster. The endless power of the Dafa descends from the sky, causing the heavens and the earth to fall, and the endless suffering is brewing on the whole earth. For a while, on the earth of the mythological world, countless people looked up to the sky and panicked. The same is true of demons and witches. Among the demon clan, several demon gods headed by Kuan Peng couldn't hold it again. The sage shot, and heaven returned, letting their hearts riot again. Go, taking advantage of this opportunity, we directly kill Long Ting. There are saints holding back their high-end combat power, and our strength is enough to sweep over. At that time, Long Ting changed hands and changed his face to become a monster court. Kuan Peng proposed. As soon as this word came to an end, the rest of the demon gods all agreed. They would not die. They wanted to reappear the glory of the past, and then set up a demon court. Now that they have such an opportunity, they will naturally not give up. For a time, countless demons gathered together again and headed for Long Ting. This move, of course, cannot be concealed from the Wu tribe. The current Wu clan is still headed by Jiufeng, but Qi Yu's influence is also great. At this moment, Qi Yu looked up at Long Ting's direction, and suddenly the intention of killing broke out. The demon tribe is a mess, and they want to rob them while they're on fire. Jiufeng, it's time. Now that the Dragon Lord has given us the glory of the Wu tribe to rule the earth, now is the time for us to return to the Dragon Court. Qiu's eyes flashed, killing the sky. Then Jiufeng descendants Shangliu, Xingtian, and other 12 witches all stood up looking at the sky's demon Qi, all with endless warfare in their eyes. Okay, order the witches and enter the Dragon Court. Jiufeng asked. The next moment, the Wu people gathered in an instant and headed straight into the sky. And no one knows that somewhere in the nothingness at the moment, the rime of Sangxing Avenue disappears suddenly, directly compensating for the sky and repairing the sky, and the figure of Long Fei is looming among them. Immediately after, 5 figures appeared suddenly. Among the 5 figures, a shadow from the world looked up at the sky. Long Fei is right. This world is truly extraordinary. However, it is just right. Let the Emperor take a look. Whose means is more severe? Chapter 49-46. Chapter 49-46. At this moment, Long Fei still has some gratitude for Long Batian. Although Long Batian counted himself countless times, if he did not have Long Batian, he might have died a long time ago. Especially now, with the continuous shaping of Dantian, Long Fei can even feel that an unprecedented strength is breeding in his own Dantian. If one's 3,000 thoughts really come out of this world, then his own Dantian will become the only existence in ancient times. And between thoughts, the bodies of thoughts came out of any door again. On each figure, there is a different idea. This kind of Taoism is their detached Taoism. There are countless ways in the world, definitely more than 3,000. But the road is endless, and I want to control all the Taoism. Even if Long Fei has this mind, there is no time. Therefore, It can only be left to its own development. Moreover, Long Fei has absolute self-confidence. Naturally, it is the idea of splitting himself out, and he will never let himself down. He will certainly be able to come out of his path of sermon. By now, it has come out to nearly 500, one step closer to the 3,000 Long Fei longed for. However, there is not much time left for Long Fei. 3 days have passed now, and there are only 4 days left until the mission is completed. Once the 4 days are up, it is impossible for Long Fei to wait. In an instant, 2 days passed. There are more than 1,400 minds returning, plus the previous 500. It is already more than 1,900. Even the Avengers and Alliance heroes have returned. However, after the return, they are no longer able to compare and have condensed their strength to a new extreme. At least, their current combat power is no longer inferior to the current 3 emperors and others. Although the individual combat power is not so detached, the focus is on the number of people. And there is the power of the talent tree, which is definitely a shockwave. 1,100 words remain. It depends on the remaining 2 days. Long Fei thought lightly. At this time, Long Fei's heart calmed down. Now what he can do, he can only wait. It's already now. If you leave now, Long Fei will not be reconciled. Hope the Emperor can persist. Really not work. You can only use the eternal coffin. Long Fei thought. Although he sent a fierce emperor, the Pantheon Tower is still under his control. If Emperor really can't carry it then, he will certainly not ignore it. After all, he had disappointed the Emperor once this time. How could this be the same again? But till now, he still hasn't sensed the change of the Pantheon Tower. That is to say, the Emperor has still not suffered any fatal damage till now. However, what Long Fei didn't know was, at this time above Dragon Court, in the Void World, Tiandao Hongjun and Emperor, they have tried their best. 2 days after the war, both men had done everything possible. The Emperor's mask was worn on his face, and the fairy sword in his hand was broken into 2 pieces. But the ruthless Emperor holding a broken sword is still heroic and unabashed. Tiandao Hongjun, at this moment, is not much better. The whole person's face is already full of shock. This side of the world is his home field, the world he opened up with the power of heaven. In this world, his power can be fully exerted, but the fierce Emperor will be suppressed. However, in this case, his strength still failed to crush the Emperor, and even tried his best to fail to take advantage. No, it's impossible. You are not in this world. How could there be no time limit? How could this be? Hongjun shook his mouth, his eyes filled with incredibleness. For the first and only time, facing a ruthless emperor, Hongjun felt a sense of confusion. At the time, Meng Hao, the owner of the endless starry sky, had violent methods and unparalleled methods of closing the sky, but also had a time limit. It only disappeared for a moment. But now, Emperor has been in this side of the world playing against him for 2 days. This distinction is fatal. Time limit? If it doesn't exist, Long Fei said that this time, I can stay in the Pantheon forever. I am the landlord. He won't lie to me. Vicious Emperor spoke, lightly, between the words. A hint of red blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Yes, she was seriously injured at the moment. After all, she is facing Tiandao Hongjun, who is the Tao of Tao. Moreover, this is still in the heavenly world of the other party. Even if her strengths and weaknesses are unparalleled, the power of the 5th century is overwhelming. Besides, let alone say that just by looking at the strength of the 2 of them now, they can kill the saint's ordinary existence with a single shot. This kind of lethality is slightly careless, which may be death. At this time, the 2 were able to fight in this world for 2 days, showing that their power was almost the same. Long Fei, and Long Fei again. If we had known today, when he appeared in the world of mythology, the poor should kill him. When Hongjun heard it, he suddenly blew his hair. Everything now is caused by Long Fei. The heavenly path collapses and becomes a secondary path, out of control of the world of myth. Therefore, in the eyes of Hongjun, the existence of Long Fei is already a nail in his eyes and a thorn in his flesh. Even as I told Hongjun, when Long Fei first came to the world of mythology, the heavens were already unstable, and at that time Hongjun had already guessed the existence of Long Fei. However, at that time, Long Fei was too weak to enter Hongjun's speech at all. But unfortunately, times have changed, and even if he regrets, it is useless. Now, Long Fei has laid out a myth, and the world of myth is already under the control of Long Fei. You're right, Long Fei is a miracle creator, since you can't kill him before he can do wonders. So what is waiting for you will be destroyed by him? Ruthless Emperor, Yu said. No, I don't believe it. I am a Taoist ancestor of heaven. When I was in a flood and drought, even the ancestors of Zulong had to be destroyed by my heavenly operation. He Long Fei counts as, when this Tao cuts you off, when the Songxing Avenue will be destroyed by the impact of my heavenly power. Hongjun exclaimed. At this moment, he had hit the real fire. The fierce emperor's strength gave him a sense of crisis. The heavens revolve, and Song lives down. I do and believe in this way. In this power, you can still carry it. Hongjun gave a loud sigh, and his firepower was full. A huge, gigantic, colossal tooth appeared in the void. This moment, Emperor's eyes were frozen, watching this appear in the sky above the sky gears. His heart sank, but at this moment, a towering magical energy directly penetrated the barriers of heaven and rushed into one side of the world. 3,000 demon? Luo, what a courage to dare to break into this world. Hongjun's eyes were full of anger. Chapter 49-48. Chapter 49-48, The Temple of Eternal Life. Every figure still uninterruptedly walked out of any door. At this point, the distance from the previous 1,900 Taoist ideas clones has gone out of more than 900 Taoist avenues. In other words, there are more than 2,800 lanes in Long Fei's Dantian now, and there are only over 100 lanes left, which is complete. But Long Fei's face grew thicker, because with the passage of time, at this moment it is only 7 hours away from what he originally said. At that time, no matter what, he will withdraw from the Temple of Eternal Life to complete his task. Otherwise, it will be called injustice when the system is punished. Long Fei, you should have reached the limit. You are not God. Even if you become the master of eternal life completely, you will not be able to say that you can all reach the limits of the world and return home. Said the eternal life. I know, just wait. If it's not possible by then, I will leave. Long Fei said. He prioritized, although he also wants true perfection. But now, the task limitation over the system is the first to bear the brunt. What's more important is that now in Long Ting, he is facing Siege of Heaven. Although he let the fierce emperor shoot, he was still afraid of accidents. After all, this is Tiandao Hongjun. Even Meng Hao, the Lord of the Starry Sky, had to be careful about the existence. What Long Fei doesn't know is that at this time, he is in the world of heaven. No matter it is Tiandao Hongjun or Modeo Luobi, both of them are the wrong look. The fierce emperor is too fierce. One shot, cut himself, all the strength condensed into one, powerful. That is to say, the two of them have joined forces to resist it. It's too hard. Hongjun, where did you provoke such a woman? Luo Yan's gun in his hand moved to the extreme, bursting into a panic. Trouble? She is a stranger who suddenly appears under my heavenly path. If it is to provoke, they are also trying to take away my heavenly path. Hong Jun said ruthlessly, with resentment in his eyes. At this moment, his mind was extremely upset. If Long Fei had just arrived in the world of mythology, he would disregard his identity and shoot directly. Nothing will happen today. Unfortunately, it's late. Long Fei now believes in Ma Yuyi and is completely out of his control. At this time, the fierce emperor was already scarred. When the bronze mask broke, she walked out of herself and cut herself off, completely integrating the power of the fifth generation into one, out of the realm that has never been before. It can be said that the Tao of Heaven is easy, and the Tao of Magic retreats. However, Tiandao is Tiandao after all, and the means of ruthless emperor are absolute suppression on them. But the other side, it is difficult to do it completely. Vicious emperor, stop, you can't kill us at all. Moreover, although your strength is now overbearing, but the strength you have used is beyond what you can now continue to fight. Even if we have no good results, you will hurt yourself fundamentally. Luo Yin said at this time. Facing the fierce emperor, who was almost invincible, Luo Yin was also very surprised. He returned from Tianwei, thinking that he had already taken control of Tiandao and could fight Hong Jun. I never thought that the real emperor he faced was far more horrible than Hong Jun. Stop. Stop when you say stop. But rest assured, I said that if you don't kill you, you won't kill you. Your life is reserved for Long Fei. When Long Fei returns, you are dead or alive. He said it will be counted. Said Emperor Yuyu, his warfare still unparalleled. Hearing that no matter Hong Jun or Luo Yin, his face changed. Long Fei. Hong Jun, who is Long Fei? Why do I feel that this mythical world is no longer the world I know? Luo Yin asked quickly. Like them, they have become an ancestor. When you touch certain special forces, you will feel something in your heart. Just as now, Emperor said Long Fei's name, and Luo felt a fatal crisis. Long Fei is the alien, that is, the chaotic thief, who wants to seize heaven. Hong Jun hated. At this moment, he also understood clearly that the emperor was never ready to stop. Even if they are deadlocked, leave them behind. And he also felt that it would not be long before Long Fei appeared. And once Long Fei appeared, the real crisis came. As soon as he thought about it, Hong Jun flashed a decisive look in his eyes, and then looked at Luo Yin. Luo Yin, use all means. Although I don't know what Long Fei is doing now, I definitely can't take risks. We must drive this person back before Long Fei returns. Hong Jun said. This time, Tiandao's strong return has become a joke, but it is a fleeting one. Now, Hong Jun just wants to get out of here as soon as possible. Otherwise, he is also afraid of accidents. Well, I also feel that an inexplicable crisis has shrouded my head. Luo Yin said, if we let the world know that the so-called ancestors of heaven and earth are now united with the ancestors of heaven and earth demon just to break away from the suppression of the emperor, I don't know how to feel. At this time, the fierce emperor also changed his eyes. Want to leave? A bit of resoluteness flashed in the cold eyes of the emperor. Tiandao Gear, all things heaven. Endless heavenly demon died, Qing Ming. At this time, Hong Jun and Luo Yin also shot at the same time. The two flickered and disappeared. Hong Jun's body is directly integrated into the heavenly gears, while Luo Yin, who is an endless magic flame, controls Luo Yan's gun and stands upright. In an instant, the heavenly gears and Luo Yin guns, and the light was instant. Heavenly Emperor, I have to say, you are a real master. But unfortunately, you are a jewel in the dust, and Long Fei is not worthy. Now, if you have time to step back, otherwise, don't blame this ruthless man. The sound came from the heaven gear, full of threats. Unworthy? In the eyes of Bindi, Long Fei is omnipotent. And you, it's just a stepping stone on his peak. In other words, you are just an enemy on his transmutation road, not even his opponent. Ruthless Emperor said lightly. This sentence is extremely proud. This is Tiandao Hongjun, Tiandao Daozu. These characters are not worthy of Long Fei's opponents. Who else is worth it? Presumptuous. Now that you are obsessed, don't blame the truth. Everything is heavenly. Give it to my town. Hongjun sang loudly. At the same time, Luo Yan was idle. Luo Yan's gun smashed into the sky, and once flashed, there were endless magic shadows. The world was extremely short, and the pressure came down and went straight to the emperor. The fierce emperor had a slight set of hands, and there was an invincible trend between Zhang He condensing on him. You want to break free and leave? Impossible. The flowers are blooming in the world. Only I have the esteem, and I will kill the way, and all the ways will be won. This blow, I call it the killing way. Are you ready? Faintly opening. Chapter 49:50. Chapter 49:50. The world is vast. The endless void is ups and downs, like a collapse. This kind of power is too horrible. The fierce emperor fights with Hongjun and Luo Yan. Any kind of power is enough to destroy the world of myth. As the Tao world collapses today, all restrictions have disappeared. The next collision is very likely to destroy the entire world. It is because of this that Emperor let Neza take everyone away, because she could not guarantee that under the sole strength of the fusion of heaven and magic, she would still be able to guarantee that the Dragon Court was perfect. At this moment, the power of heaven and magic is merged, and the endless magic flame directly falls on the heaven gear. Creak, creak. Above the gears of heaven, a creak erupted instantly. This is the sound of gears turning. However, the heavenly gear at this time is no better than before. There is a big difference between the two. The heavenly gears, which are just the power of heavenly power, can hardly make any suppression on the emperor. But now, the magic path is integrated into the heavenly path, which makes the gear of this heavenly path also undergo qualitative change. The fusion of the two powers is extremely powerful, far exceeding the power of heaven. It was the fierce emperor. At this moment, a very dignified expression appeared on his face. Obviously, even if she had cut me down, facing this kind of power, she didn't have the certainty to win. Ha ha ha, cruel emperor, even if you are great. Neither heaven nor magic are your opponents. What can you do? Now in the Tao of Heaven, the magic road has been merged. The two forces are combined, and I don't believe you can still carry it. Tiandao Hongjun laughed wildly, with a bit of contempt in his concubine. The voice was still his own, but his temperament seemed to change. Tiandao Hongjun, originally, at least I think you are useful to Long Fei. Hao is also the ancestor of heaven. Even if he is not the emperor's opponent, he should be able to uphold his heart. However, I did not expect that in order to deal with me, I was willing to merge with the magic road. However, do you think that after the fusion, are you heaven or magic? Or are they the same? Emperor said coldly. His words were full of loss. She spoke several times and would not kill Hongjun just to leave it to Long Fei for disposal. But now the other party is choosing to merge with Luo Yi in order to survive, so that Emperor Di has been disappointed in his heart. Don't say anything high profile. If it weren't for Long Fei, how could this road be where it is today? This mythical world is under my control. Long Fei wants to overthrow my heavenly path, and it is a very avenue of life. From this perspective, as long as you can die, everything else is not important. Hongjun said fiercely, "You are too confident. Before you two were not my opponents. Even if they were merged into one, Bindi was not afraid." The emperor said faintly. His momentum rose again. Ha ha ha, different. Anyway, this world is no longer a heavenly world. But are you willing? If you dare to take the shot, the whole world will be buried. Tiandao Hongjun laughed. There is no fear, and it is extremely mad. On hearing that, Emperor Di's eyes darkened. Hongjun is right. At this time, once the shot is taken, the whole world will be wiped out. For a moment, the emperor's heart was full of helplessness and bitterness. Long Fei, why don't you come back? Is this time I want to disappear? The emperor reluctantly thought. What she didn't know was that Long Fei, who was waiting anxiously, had opened her eyes suddenly. 2,272. After all, they cannot be fulfilled. Long Fei sighed. By now, the light of any door is getting darker and fades away. It's okay for Long Fei, and it has never been possible to do that. The first few masters of the eternal coffin did not even have the qualification to enter the 3,000 realms. It can only be said that you are the only husband in your life who sees you most likely to be the Lord of eternal life. Said the eternal life. This result has made him startled. 3,000 worlds behind the temple of immortality. With his avatar, Long Fei directly reached the limit, and there were even more than 2,970. This number is extremely scary. Lord of eternal life. Yes, it won't be long. There are only 7 trial tasks for the Lord of eternal life, and he somehow has completed 5. It can only be said that, as the name deserves, this eternal Lord is made for him. As for the immortal body, as well as the Pango heart, it will not take long to complete it. At that time, it will become the eternal life directly. Well, Long Fei, the 7 days mentioned earlier have come. The projection of the Temple of Eternal Life has also reached its limit. Also, staying here for too long will not be good for you. Eternal Life said, any door closed. Then the Temple of Eternal Life began to dissipate into the darkness. Boom. The next moment, the coffin of Eternal Life shook, and Dragon Fei went back to knowing the sea. However, at this moment, Long Fei could clearly feel that the connection between himself and the coffin of eternal life had become closer and closer. He has a feeling that if the coffin of eternal life is used now, it will not work as hard as before, and the eternal power that can erupt will be even more violent and more terrifying. It's time to go back. Emperor, I hope you can handle it. Long Fei must have a soul. Step back and return to the flesh. In the world of mythology, Long Fei opened his eyes and felt the horror from above the void. His eyes must be the power of heaven. No, there is another breath of magic, and there is also a fierce emperor. Today, Long Fei is the master of the Zhangxing Avenue, and once the spirit returns, he can clearly see the situation between the world and the earth. Fuck, it seems to be 2,001. Lao Tzu wants to see who it is and dare to stand with Hongjun. As soon as Long Fei's heart was fierce, he would rush to Jiuxiao. But at this moment, a crisp sound appeared in my mind. Ding! Congratulations to the player for completing the task of shaping Dantian. Mission evaluation, SS level. Ding! Congratulations to players for getting rewards, level +1 props. May I use them now? A system tone appears. No need to, Long Fei said quickly, and at the same time there was a surprise in his heart. If this reward is cast directly, he can directly enter the detachment level 2. However, it's useless. Although he can greatly improve his strength, level +1 means that all states directly return to the peak, which is equivalent to a direct extra life. It would be a waste if it were used now. Ding! Congratulations to players for their power of Pangu. The system detects that Panga's power to open the sky can become the last power to open the blade of the king of the king. Does the player choose to devour it? The system sound prompts. Long Fei's pupils shrank with surprise. Lost, the last blade of the king's blade. Long Fei was surprised, feeling that his heartbeat had missed a half-beat, and his brain had fallen into the ethereal. In the whole person's ears, only the sentence was convoluted. Chapter 57:16. Chapter 57:16, Above the Void. The expressions of the three of Tianning also changed instantaneously. Their eyes also looked at the distance in unison, like the sky fire burning the void. It directly crossed the boundless world and came straight to the dragon court in an instant. Before the person arrived, the three of them already felt an endless killing intent enveloped them. Moments later, a figure appeared in front of them. Long Fei. Finally back, great. Unfortunately, it's still a step too late. I hope he won't get angry and involve us all. The three of Chongshan communicated to each other. The moment Long Fei appeared, their hearts immediately settled down. Steady. Long Fei was born to create miracles. It's no surprise that Long Fei is here. The only worry was that Long Fei would blame them for the life and death of the little Taoist priests. As for the three of Tianning, who were completely sluggish at this moment, the arrival of Long Fei made them feel extremely uneasy. He is like a who exists alone in the world, and they are all living beings. This is an innate level gap which makes them ashamed of themselves and a feeling of inferiority that they cannot control themselves, and they want to kneel down and submit. How is it possible? How is it possible to have such a feeling? The ruler at the center of the system looked pale, even facing Long Batian. They didn't feel this way, but facing Long Fei, who appeared in front of them at this time, they were surrounded by terror. Rap! Could it be that he has already entered that realm? Impossible. It's impossible. How long has it been since he disappeared? How could he have reached this point? The head of the Dark Council's face was serious, and his voice trembled a little. As soon as Long Fei appeared, the overwhelming sense of oppression made him feel the crisis of life and death. The same is true for Tianning. Although they devoured the power of immortality of the little Taoist priests, which greatly increased their strength, they did not reach that step. At this moment, Long Fei just looked at everything in front of him calmly. His eyes flickered, as if he was perceiving something. But after a while, he looked at Long Batian. Anyway, you have also played Longting before. Watching Longting be destroyed, you didn't make any movement? Long Fei said softly, as if he was just asking. I can't control it. I didn't come here. How can I manage it? It's just a small trick to come here through the long river of time and space. Long Batian took a sip of his cigar, put one hand in his pocket, and said indifferently. When Long Fei heard this, his eyes moved slightly. Good means as expected of you. Long Fei said indifferently. It's a small thing, but should I say it or not, you are a real dish, and it took you so long to come here. Long Batian said with a sarcasm. Long Fei gave Long Batian a white look. You know what? Do you know where I came from? How many galaxies have I crossed? Long Fei let out a sneer, but Long Batian was more direct, pulling it casually. In an instant, the void scenes were exchanged, and a beach appeared. Beaches, sunsets, gulls. There are even lots of bikini-clad beach beauties walking around. Long Batian directly sat down on a beach chair under a parasol and picked up the coconut milk on the table. Don't be envious. These are just some small tricks, and it's just a scene of detaining the void. Long Batian said softly, but the sarcasm in his eyes was self-evident. He did this in response to Long Fei. Anything that crosses the galaxy is bullshit. Crossing the galaxy is amazing. I can't do it. So I just grab a piece of civilization. I can't do it. Long Batian said with a grin. Long Fei narrowed his eyes, and a nameless anger arose in his heart. These words, inside and outside the words, are all mocking of himself. It's not illusory. Long Fei's heart tightened suddenly, seeing Long Batian immersed in it so peacefully. His heart was surging. This kind of method is really crazy. Although he also entered the unique realm and dabbled in the methods of most people in that cemetery, none of them were related to Long Batian. In other words, this is a method developed by Long Batian himself. And it's not the first time Long Fei has seen this kind of picture. He once saw Long Batian dressed like this in the depths of Longmai Mountain, and the beauties on the beach were even more enjoyable. At the beginning, Long Fei thought that Long Batian was idle and bored, and wanted to reminisce about life on Earth, so he deliberately asked people to do this. But now, seeing the divine hand of Long Batian, he has another cognition. Long Batian wasn't trying to build it on purpose at all, but simply brought another civilization in the world to this place. Moreover, he can easily integrate into it. Not only will it not cause rejection from heaven and earth, even the creatures in it will not be aware of his existence. But soon Long Fei returned to normal, and his eyes returned to calm. What are you doing in Yin Yang? If you can't speak, don't speak. Long Fei retorted. Okay, since that's the case, I won't hide it anymore. I just came to see your jokes. You see, your junior brother died, and a few of you who stayed in Longting also died. Please me, I will reverse time and space, and make them come alive. Long Batian looked calm and composed. Long Fei gritted his teeth. Asshole! Long Fei had never suffered such humiliation. The little who used to laugh at himself, now the grass on the grave has been mowed one after another. However, facing Long Batian's ridicule, he was still powerless to refute. There is no way. Long Batian's method is too mysterious. Even Long Fei has never dabbled in it. How about it? Please beg me. I can reverse the time and space with just a little shot and send you at this moment to the previous time and space, and it will not be a problem to save them at that time. Long Batian continued, as if he was waiting for Long Fei to bow his head. I can give you a chance and spare you from dying. Don't think that I don't know your thoughts. I heard from Dahai that you are very upset with me. But unfortunately, I am the only protagonist of the era. Under the torrent of this era, you only can be a supporting role. Long Fei said mercilessly. For Long Batian, his understanding is not limited to the past. The sea told him a lot. Perhaps in Dahai's original intention, Long Batian was once regarded as the protagonist of the world, but later Dahai eliminated him and brought himself into this world. Perhaps, since Dahai made that decision, Long Batian had already started to retreat. It is precisely for this reason that Longba Genius will continue to appear in his own life trajectory. Damn it, Long Fei, you don't play cards according to the routine. You need to be clear. Now I am in charge of the initiative. Even though you have become the only one, it doesn't mean you have that kind of means. Could it be that you don't care about them, dead or alive? Long Batian. He suddenly sat up from the beach chair, adjusted his sunglasses, and said angrily, Then I don't care. You don't need to make a move, but I will kill you all my life. If you don't believe me, try it. Long Fei said domineeringly. If it was before, Long Fei might not have the confidence to say these words. But after becoming the only one, he has nothing to fear. Chapter 57:17. Chapter 57:17. As the conversation between the two unfolded, the void was also filled with the smell of gunpowder. This is the only conversation, and when the words are blurted out, they are the supreme oracle above all laws. Even this piece of heaven, earth, time, and space must be obediently silent. As for the three of Tianning, they were completely dumbfounded at this moment. The three of them teamed up and couldn't help Long Batian, but Long Fei actually wanted to kill him. What kind of joke is this? They looked at each other, but apart from that, they couldn't do much else. It seems that this is the home field of Long Fei and Long Batian. Except for them, no one else is even qualified to speak. At this moment, they really panicked, and an unknown crisis enveloped them, especially when they heard Long Batian say that Long Fei had reached that step. The panic in their hearts magnified infinitely. Even when they looked at each other, they could see the impulse to escape from each other's eyes. But it's a pity that they can't even do sound transmission now, let alone get away. It seemed that from the moment Long Fei arrived, they were already involuntary. In the distance, the conversation between Long Fei and Long Batian is still going on. Are you so aggressive now? Is it awesome to be the only one? You have to be clear. I stepped into this step much earlier than you. You are so confident. Can you kill me? Long Batian got up and held his hand with a wave. The previous picture instantly disappeared without a trace. And this also means that Long Batian is angry. You are the only one. Why are you so awesome? Just because I am the protagonist of this era. Long Fei responded. After the system was upgraded again, everything became one. In addition to the only means of system rewards, he also has an even more terrifying power, the punch of Nirvana. Under that punch, he put his hands in his pockets, and there was no opponent in front of him. That's why Long Fei has this confidence. Of course, this is also relative, because there are still many unknowns in the land of origin. However, Long Fei didn't care about it. Since he had set foot in this circle, he was not afraid of all the power in this circle. Long Batian's eyes changed. I can make a move, but I have one condition. Long Batian said that he was also a little afraid of Long Fei at this time. After all, time has passed, and Long Fei is no longer the boy he used to be. Tell me if your attitude is good enough, I might consider agreeing to it. Long Fei responded lightly. Long Batian's attitude changed, and Long Fei was not surprised. After all, what I said before is true. Even if Long Batian has confidence in himself, he should consider the existence of the sea. Dahai pushed himself to the current level step by step. Even if he was upset, there was nothing he could do about it. In a fight, life and death are divided between victory and defeat. This has been my long-cherished wish for so many years. If I hadn't been concerned about the plan to go to the sea, I would have killed you thousands of times. The more I can't kill you, the more I miss you. Kill you. Long Fei frowned slightly. Unexpectedly, Long Batian would make such a request. But soon, Long Fei realized that something was wrong. If Long Batian was begging for death, he had really put life and death aside, and he would have no possibility of being subdued in front of him. But at this moment, I heard Long Batian say again, I know, Dahai must have told you that there may not be no one between the two of us, but I'm just upset. They are all brought out by him. Why? I'm about to be given up. I don't agree with letting you be the protagonist of this world. So, what I did just now was just to stimulate you. But seeing your attitude, I feel relieved. Exactly, I want to kill you too. As long as you promise, there must be no one between the two of us. I will take action now and let you reverse time and space and go back to the past. Long Batian faced each other frankly. At this moment, he didn't hide anymore. Only his face was solemn. Okay, since everyone has the same idea, that's even better. He brought them out, so it's a fight. Long Fei's eyes also showed fighting spirit. Long Batian, this old Imbi, has played many tricks along his way. Perhaps it was because he was afraid of the sea that he didn't kill himself. I have held this breath in my heart for a long time. And now that he has broken through to the unique realm, he also wants to have a real contest with him. Who can't do it? Long Batian nodded, and then he walked out in one step, came to Long Fei, fiddled with it casually, and opened a passage in the dark void. Go. Long Batian said, casually. Aren't you going? Long Fei asked in doubt. This is too simple. Opening a channel in the void can reverse time and space. My body is eternal, and I want to reverse time and space. I don't need this thing at all, but you can't. Long Batian has his own compulsion, and he has carried out his pretense to the end. It's already this time, and he never forgets this instinct. Long Fei gave him a contemptuous look, but didn't say much. Turning around, step into it with one step. But what Long Fei didn't know was that as Long Fei's figure entered it, the scene in the field began to change, just like a camera reversed. Except for Long Batian himself, everything in the arena went into chaos. The aura of the Tianning trio began to weaken, and the aura of the little Taoist priest they devoured was also deprived of life. Afterwards, Chunzhong, Huidou, and the Mad King appeared one by one, and even the little Taoist was reborn. Everything reversed at this moment, returning to before the decisive battle between the two sides. Boom! Suddenly, time and space trembled. Everything in the arena is running again. I saw the Tianning trio staring at the little Taoist priest with stern faces. Little Taoist priest, why kill you 3 against 3? Apart from you, there are as many dragon courts as there are. Heaven can clamor. But suddenly, when he spoke, he hesitated. Why does it feel like I've said this before? He thought to himself, but soon felt that his thinking was too ridiculous. Then hit. The little Taoist replied. But the little Taoist priest also had doubts in his eyes at this moment. It feels a little familiar. I seem to have died, but for some reason, I came back to life. Even this scene, I have experienced it before. The little Taoist murmured in his heart, feeling something was wrong. That's right, then fight, just like we would admit defeat. I'd rather die than be cowardly. Then, the voices of Chunzhong and Huidou appeared one after another. But from this moment on, the development of the story is no longer the same as before. Damn it, why do I feel like I said this? Then I seem to die. You also feel this way? I feel it too. I seem to have died once. And everything here seems very familiar. The two of them spoke with astonishment in their eyes. Even the 3 of Chongshan below showed doubts. This scene seems to have happened before. Tell me, did Long Fei come back and use a big trick to reshape everything? Chongshan said. The other 2 shook their heads. At this time, they also felt extremely weird, but they also didn't know what went wrong. But what they didn't know was that a figure was standing in front of them at this moment, watching everything calmly. He is Long Batian. Chapter 57:18. Chapter 57:18. It's just that everyone seems to be unaware of his existence, and each is immersed in his own wrong perception. I can't wait any longer. It's very weird now. I have to take action or leave. Tianneng said suddenly. If it was just his own illusion, he might not care. But now it seems that everyone in the field has this perception, which proves that this is not his problem at all. The master of the System Center and the president of the Dark Council also had serious expressions at this time. It's not right. It's too wrong. You can't stay here. There may be a big horror. The master of the System Center said, Yes, although I can't say why. I feel that this is our only chance. If we don't leave now, we may die here. The president of the Dark Council said. The next moment, the 3 looked at each other. At this moment, they all had the intention of leaving in their hearts. This seems to be an instinctive choice. They don't even think they are lucky now, and no one mentions that they are thinking too much, but they have a very tacit understanding that they must leave. The next moment, the three turned around and left. The little Taoist priest and the others were stunned, watching the actions of the three of them. The speculation in their hearts became more prominent. My master has returned. It must be my omnipotent master who has returned. Chen Zhong shouted. It can't be wrong. It must be. I said, who is so awesome. There must be only the master. The master is invincible through all ages. The two called out one after the other, and the words are extremely consistent, and they are full of flattery invisibly. Brother, is that you? The little Taoist stared at the void, his eyes sparkling with excitement. At this moment, he was extremely excited. He just pretended to be calm. And just when he had such a guess in his mind, a voice suddenly appeared above the void. My dragon court, are you also worthy of acting wild? If you want to leave now, leave it to me. As soon as the sound appeared, a huge palm print fell directly from the void, directly in front of the three of them. The expressions of the three of them changed drastically. This palm seems to contain extremely terrifying power. Even if the three of them are already the most powerful people in the supreme world, they dare not take it hard. In an instant, the figures of the three retreated abruptly, not daring to face the palm at all. However, Long Fei never thought of killing them so easily. He just shot them to force them back. The next moment, Long Fei appeared. Brother, it's really you. The little Taoist became excited, with tears in his eyes. He has suffered too much. With Long Fei not around, the Dragon Court was in a precarious situation, and what he could do was to block all the power of the Dragon Court in the Dragon Court with formations, and then prepared to fight to the death. He was even ready to die. But now that Long Fei is back, he can finally relax. Well, junior brother, you did a good job. I am very pleased to have you in Longting. Long Fei said with a light smile. Although he was confident, he still couldn't help feeling sad when he felt the breath of the little Taoist priest lingering in the world before. And now seeing the little Taoist priest standing in front of him, he was also excited. Master, you are back. My lord, I knew you would come back. Chen Zhong and the two spoke quickly, for fear that they would not have the same opportunity to express themselves. Well, you're not bad either. If I didn't have the two heartfelt words just now, I would have thought about the two of you, and now I am going to give you a fortune. Long Fei said softly. In all fairness, both of them did not abandon Longting, and would rather die in battle than let go of Longting. This made Long Fei feel emotional and kind to the two of them. Although they always focused on being their lackeys, at this moment, Long Fei recognized them and was willing to treat them as his own. When the two heard it, their faces were filled with joy. As for the sentence in Long Fei's words that killed them, they had completely ignored it, and they only remembered the last sentence. Long Fei said that he would give them a fortune. It doesn't matter whether it's good luck or not. What's important is that I like the feeling of getting along with my master. Huido said calmly, carrying out the dog-licking business to the extreme. Me too. The master is strong and good-looking, the only one in the world. Chen Zhong was naturally not to be outdone, and said, hastily. A long-lost smile appeared on Long Fei's face. Stop flattering. Am I that kind of person? Even if you tell the truth, it won't work. Long Fei responded, but just after he finished speaking, the figure of Long Batian in the void couldn't hold back any longer and appeared directly. Grass, enough of you. My F***CK real body is coming soon. You let me watch you pretend? Long Batian shouted angrily, but Long Fei didn't take it seriously. Don't be envious. This is a routine operation. Besides, they are just telling the truth. Is there any problem? Long Fei retorted. Shut up. Long Batian interrupted Long Fei directly, and then looked at Chen Zhong and the other two. You two are talents. Why don't you think about following me? Long Batian said lightly with a cigar in his mouth. Who are you? My master is unparalleled in heaven and earth. It is my greatest honor to follow the master. That's right, don't take a pee and look in the mirror. Are you worthy of me to follow? My master, there is and can only be one, and that is him. The two resolutely refused, expressing their attitudes. Seeing this scene, Long Fei also burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Long Batian, you also have today, Long Fei said with a smile. But Long Batian's face was gloomy. At this moment, he felt that the whole person was not well. He wanted to pretend to be himself, but he didn't expect that Long Fei was allowed to pretend. Fuck, I shouldn't have opened my mouth. I'll give you a chance to act aggressive. Long Batian turned and left cursing. However, as Long Batian's figure disappeared, the smile on Long Fei's face also gradually disappeared. Although it was a farce, Long Fei knew that his real body was coming soon, and there was not much time left for him. With this in mind, he shifted his gaze to the three of Tianning. It's time to solve them. As long as they are solved, there will be no more threats in this supreme world, and then I can rest assured to do other things. You're Long Fei? But what do you mean? Tian Nung forced himself to calm down. The moment Long Fei appeared, they knew that they were no match for Long Fei at all, so he made his own decision in a flash. The other two are also immortal old monsters. The moment Tian Nung opened his mouth, they knew what Tian Nung was thinking, and said one after another, "That's right, Lord of the Dragon Court, you are famous far and wide, and the three of us came here for your fame." "That's right, you must have misunderstood. We didn't act wild at all." The three of them directly confessed their cowardice, and they couldn't get tough in front of Long Fei, and even spoke with humility. Long Fei was stunned for a moment. Now, can he be so shameless? Even the little Taoist priest and the others looked at each other in blank dismay. The change between before and after is too exaggerated. It's because I don't want to lose face at all. Chapter 57:19. Chapter 57:19. How arrogant they were before, how humble they are now. The reversal between the front and back is like a different person. You guys still have to be shameless. What about the awesomeness just now? Didn't you say that even if my master came, you would kill me indiscriminately? Yes. He also said that quacks will be killed randomly. We are responsible for quacks, and you are responsible for random killings. Come on, do it. My master is right in front of you. Kill one and let me see. Qinzhong and Huidou cursed loudly. Their memories stay in the past, and they will never forget how much pressure the existence of these three people has brought to them. Even if their previous feelings were correct, they had already died once. That is to say, these three people had already destroyed Longting once, and it was Long Fei's return that reversed everything. What the two said made Tian Nung and the other three look flustered. I'm afraid there is some misunderstanding between the two of you. It was just a joke before. The Lord of the Dragon Court is unparalleled. How dare we target the Dragon Court? I came here to send warmth. This time the Lord of the Dragon Court went to the void to make a name for my supreme world. No matter what happened to the two of them, I definitely want to be grateful Lord of the Dragon Court. Look, here is the system power stone, which can quickly increase the system level. In addition to this, there are many supreme level systems. This is the sincerity of my system center. Please accept it from the Master of the Dragon Court. The Master of the System Center said, humbly, fear is omnipotent. Even if you let go of your dignity, you will not hesitate. And this wave of operations directly confused the people in the field, especially the president of the Dark Council and Tian Nung. They hated it even more. This is to sell them directly. As soon as the two gritted their teeth, storage rings appeared in their hands. Dragon Lord, This is nearly half of my Dark Council's collection, system energy, and countless rare treasures. The president of the Dark Council said, they know that now they have no qualification conditions. Without Long Fei taking action, they already felt a kind of boundless oppression which was a life and death crisis. There is only one way in front of them now, and that is to spend money to buy their lives. Dragon Lord, I have a showdown. Originally, this was to target Longting, but now that I see you, I realize how ignorant my thoughts are. Moreover, I can tell you frankly that it was the two of them who contacted me and pulled me join the gang. When Zhongshan persuaded me, I was already fascinated by the Dragon Lord in my heart. If it weren't for the two of them, I would definitely not have taken this wrong path. I also asked the Dragon Lord to forgive me. Tianning said nothing astonishing endlessly, directly started to roll up. Playing dirty, right? Then, let's die together. This was the truest portrayal in Tianneng's heart at this time. He looked at the two of them coldly. The three-person team suddenly collapsed at this moment. The master of the system center and the chairman of the Dark Council also stared at Tianneng with great hatred. Tianning's release is tantamount to selling them out directly. Dragon Lord, don't listen to his nonsense. It's not like this at all. We have always respected you very much. As we all know, the center of my system is an extremely righteous force. I have made outstanding contributions to the peaceful development of the supreme world. How could I join forces with them? Yes, I came here this time to protect Longting. Realizing that they were uneasy and kind, they came to me and said that they wanted to win Longting. Will that work? Of course not. It is impossible for me to agree. So I pretended to be false and wanted to see what kind of tricks they were playing. Sure enough, it really made me discover that they are really wicked. They not only want to destroy Longting, carve up the resources of Longting, but even want to seek the power of immortality from this little Taoist. If you hadn't appeared in time, Dragon Lord, maybe I would have fought them to the death right now. The ruler at the center of the system was filled with righteous indignation and kept attacking the two of them. He also went all out. If there is still a chance of survival now, let's see who can pick himself out. Instead of glorifying yourself, it's better to bash others. What's more, what he said now is taking both into consideration. For a moment, he was very grateful that the center of his system represented justice, and now he was justified. And Long Fei also opened his eyes wide at this moment. Shameless. If he hadn't known what happened before the reversal of time and space, he might have believed what he said now. The words are so affectionate and touching, but the people in the distance were stunned at this moment. Even Chenzhong and Huidu's faces were full of guard at this moment. Talent, one word is perfect. This person has already refined the word, running dog. If he really escapes by chance, he will definitely pose a huge threat to us in the future. The two communicated in their hearts, and they had a strong fear of the master at the center of the system. Chongshan and the others had already lost their minds at this time. Too cruel. This is so ruthless that even his own people are knifed. The three of them were still teammates a moment ago, but now they have parted ways, facing each other for life and death, and they all tried their best to send each other the last way. Shameless. How can you say such a thing? You don't want any face. Tianneng shouted angrily. He thought that what he did was already cruel enough for you, but compared with the master of the system center now, it really pales in comparison, and there is no comparison at all. Every sentence is a murderous sentence for fear that they will survive. It's so shameless. If I knew you were such a thing, I would never have anything to do with you. It is the greatest shame in my life to be as famous as you. The president of the Dark Council said violently, "Humph, stop pretending. you to the existence of the Dragon Lord, won't you be able to see your lies? The master of the system center retorted. This is the end of the matter, and it is useless to say anything else. He can only go to Hay one way. If Long Fei can kill them, that would be the best. All of a sudden, the three of them were all fierce, staring at each other. Have you finished? Listen to me. When you're done? At this moment, Long Fei suddenly interjected. The three of them were taken aback for a moment. Then they all came to their senses and looked at Long Fei. You all performed wonderfully. If I hadn't experienced another ending, maybe I would really believe what you are saying now. But unfortunately, I reversed time and space from another ending. So, to me, it's like a clown. Long Fei said calmly, let the three of you go. Impossible. If it weren't for the presence of Long Batian, who could reverse time and space, it would not be easy for him to resurrect the little Taoist priest and others. After all, it is an established fact. Even if he is the only one, he will have to pay a high price if he wants to do it. Therefore, when he came back at this time, he had only one purpose for the three of them, and that was to drive them all to death. As the voice fell, a cold light flashed in Long Fei's hand, and a long sword appeared. This is the first time I have used this sword in my life. It is the honor of the three of you to die under this sword. As he spoke, Long Fei casually struck out with the sword. But even though it is random, the power of this sword cannot be resisted by three people, because this sword is the only sword. Chapter 57:20. Chapter 57:20. Long Fei broke through to the unique realm and obtained a lot of unique power. But the reason why he chose to use the sword at this time has another layer. That is to let Long Batian take a look at his current combat power. After all, as an agreement, after solving the matter here, he will fight Long Batian. And this battle has been doomed since eternity, and it cannot be avoided at all. As for the result, Long Fei didn't know. It can even be said that this battle is the most unpredictable battle Long Fei has ever fought. Brush. Following Long Fei's sword, the entire world in the field went dark. The void galaxy began to tremble, and there was a sound of whimpering in the distance. It seemed that all the galaxy had great fear of this sword, and under this sword, the expressions of Tianning and the other three froze instantly. They still have anger on their faces, but they have no spirituality. Afterwards, their bodies began to dissipate, one after another, directly turning into a piece of dust, and finally disappeared between the heaven and the earth. In an instant, the presence of the three people in the field disappeared without a trace. At the same time, in the nothingness, there were countless thunderbolts flickering faintly, and a roar appeared, as if the death of the three people had affected the terrifying unknown, and this behavior appeared at this time to express dissatisfaction. Under this breath, the faces of everyone in the field were extremely heavy, but Long Fei raised his head quietly. Go away, don't let me hear you crying and mourning. That is, I have something to do now, and I don't have time to talk to you, or I will kill you with a single sword. Long Fei's voice was very calm, but it seemed to have the power to penetrate the void. And as his voice fell, the void suddenly returned to calm, and the pressure disappeared. The three people in Chongshan were dumbfounded, but their eyes were all shining brightly. Facts have proved that their choice is not wrong. Long Fei is really the creator of miracles. Once he returns, everything can be reversed, including life and death, including dead end. The faces of the little Taoist priest and others were also extremely excited. These three are the strongest existences in the supreme world, and now that the three of them are dead, it means that Dragon Court is now the most powerful force in the supreme world. None of them. For a moment, the little Taoist couldn't help showing emotion in his eyes. They fought all the way from the small world of the supreme world, and the hardships in it are naturally self-evident, and now they have finally reached this step. Although everything was insignificant and understated under Long Fei's sword at this time, but he could still imagine the difficulties of Long Fei's journey. If he hadn't endured the hardships that ordinary people can't bear, how could he have the strength he has today? Brother, we did it. We finally did it. From now on, Longting can finally stand in this piece of heaven and earth, and there will be no more threats. The little Taoist said, excitedly with tears streaming down his face. Well, we did it. Long Fei responded lightly. Looking at the expression of the little Taoist at this time, he couldn't help showing a touch of tenderness in his eyes. He didn't say much. The little Taoist has endured more, and his belief is to protect the Longting. You guys have done a good job, so let's stop here. Let me, the boss, do the rest. Long Fei thought faintly, but just as he was thinking about it, a voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Ding, congratulations to the player for beheading the master of the Supreme World System Center and obtaining a cultivation improvement pill. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining a Supreme Dominator system. The level is naturally 9. Ding, congratulations to the player for beheading the leader of the Dark Council and gaining a cultivation improvement pill. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining a Lord of Darkness system. The level is naturally 9. Ding, congratulations to the player for beheading the owner of the Tianning auction field and obtaining a cultivation improvement pill. Ding, congratulations to the player for obtaining a Tianning system. The level is naturally 9. System, sounds appear one after another. Long Fei listened intently without saying a word. Long Fei was not surprised by the appearance of these voices. After all, these three people are the closest and only existences. To some extent, they are the biggest bosses in this supreme world, so if they are killed now, the system will explode. West, naturally, it is also reasonable. But what Long Fei was waiting for was not this voice. He was waiting for the system to be completed. Before the integration of the unified system was completed, there was a side task, which was to dominate the supreme world and recast the Dragon Court. Now that the three of them are dead, isn't he considered hegemony? System, what's the matter with you? As a system that has grown to the ultimate level, don't you have the ability to discern? Now that I have resolved the biggest crisis in the supreme world, am I still dominating? Long Fei endured, Can't Live asked. Ding, the system only looks at the results and does not help with analysis. The system responded mercilessly. Long Fei was impatient and was about to refute. But before Long Fei could speak, the system voice came out. Ding, the system has detected that the player's mood is unstable, and the system will consider falling into a deep sleep. Long Fei. Immediately, tens of thousands of Chao Nima galloped past Long Fei's heart. It's so shameless. And now the system is getting more and more doggy, and he is being manipulated to death, threatening to sleep every now and then. However, there was nothing Long Fei could do. Although he had strength now, many things still needed to be guided by the system. In desperation, Long Fei could only shut up obediently. System, I have something to discuss. You guys are embarrassing me. After all, I am the only existence. Give me some face. Long Fei said in a low voice. He wanted to be strong all his life, but now he bowed his head in front of the system, and his heart was already messed up. However, the system did not respond at this time, but it was somewhat of a face to Long Fei, and he did not continue the previous topic. Long Fei slowly opened his eyes, thinking in his heart whether he should wipe out the three forces. With his current strength, there is no need to leave at all. All he needs is a direction, and he can do it easily. There is no need to use a sword, only a punch. At this time, Long Fei suddenly thought of a strong woman in a certain novel on the earth who opened her mouth and said, "Where is your home? She is so beautiful and sassy." And now, he also has this strength. While thinking about it, he looked at Zhongshan. "Where is the auction house? Give me the coordinates." Long Fei asked in a low voice. Zhongshan was taken aback for a moment, wondering why Long Fei would suddenly ask this topic, but he still said it honestly. Long Fei nodded slightly, looking into the distance. Then, as if locked in a certain direction, he punched casually and blasted out. Everyone didn't take it seriously, and they were all stunned. But at this moment, a group of flames suddenly flickered in the distance. Puff! At the same time, Zhongshan spurted out a mouthful of blood, and immediately a token appeared in his palm. And this token was the identity card of Tianning Auction House. But at this moment, the token fell apart, turning into powder in his palm at a speed visible to the naked eye. The Tianning Auction House is gone. Zhongshan was terrified. He looked at Long Fei in disbelief. Standing still, with just one punch, he spanned countless time and space, and was wiped out. At this moment, his heart was completely confused, and he respected Long Fei like a god. Third chapter. Chapter 57:21. Chapter 57:21. Everyone was stunned. Even Long Batian, who had always been dismissive of Long Fei, turned his eyes on Long Fei at this moment. He is also the only one. He can also do this with his means, but it is absolutely impossible to do it as easily as Long Fei. In a flash, his eyes rolled, not knowing what was going on in his mind. My master is awesome. Chunzhong never let go of any opportunity to kneel and lick. Now seeing Long Fei's tricks, how could he hold back his mouth? Master, is this the means of a god? No, even I can't do it. Master, from now on, you are the only true in my heart. Naturally, Huido would not let go of the opportunity, followed closely, and said directly, Low-key, they're all small tricks that won't get on the table. Long Fei pressed his hand and said in a low voice, Capway with acute Delta 5. Net after speaking, he looked at the other two. He has a little impression of the two of them. When they left the supreme world to go to the ancient world, they were there. As for why the two of them appeared here, Long Fei was not surprised, probably because he had seen the miracle he created back then. Come on, it's your turn. Give me the coordinates. Hearing Long Fei's voice, the two woke up like a dream, and then spoke a direction in a daze. The next moment, Long Fei followed suit and threw 2 punches in 2 directions first. And in the same way, after only a moment, 2 beams of light ignited the galaxy, which was extremely dazzling and dazzling. After finishing all this, Long Fei was also extremely satisfied. The system must have nothing else to say now. It's just that Long Fei was waiting for a moment, but the system didn't make any sound. Long Fei frowned and immediately immersed himself in the system panel. After a while, Long Fei finally understood where the problem was. Recast Dragon Court. His center has been dominating the supreme world, but he has neglected the second task, which is to recast the Dragon Court. With this in mind, he locked his eyes on Longting. The little Taoist priest's formation is still there, but it can't block Long Fei's sight at all. He can see his wife, his parents, and his former brothers, as well as the Dragon Army and the Bone Army at a glance. Don't be sleepy in the Dragon Court, but this kind of sleepiness is a kind of protection. This is everything a little Taoist priest can do for Longting. Thinking of this, Long Fei felt an unknown emotion in his heart. Although this kind of strength is not enough to resist the 3 of them, but the little Taoist can do this step, which is already beyond the reach of ordinary people. He wanted to use his own life to win a chance for Longting. But fortunately, everything has been resolved now. The 3 of them died, and there was no threat to Longting. However, Longting did not break the formation. Sometimes, after meeting each other, you will be reluctant to part with it. But now, he has more important things to do. Hey, when I come back again, when I finish the apocalypse tribulation, no one will be able to separate us. As I said, it won't work if the sea comes. Long Fei swore secretly in his heart. The next moment, he looked towards the field and raised his hands. Immediately afterwards, the broken Dragon Court building and the field began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. It only took a moment to recover, as before, as if nothing had happened. And at the same time, at this moment, Long Fei finally ushered in the system's voice. Ding, congratulations to the player for destroying the 3 giants in the Supreme World, and the Dragon Court is unified. Ding, congratulations to the player for completing the side mission and obtaining the Eternal Dragon Court. Ding, start the second side mission. Enter the world of origin, rescue Tushan Xiaoya, Yurong. After the system's voice finished speaking, Long Fei was also surprised. Tushan Xiaoya, Yurong? These are all their own women, but why did they enter the world of origin? But soon, a cold light appeared in Long Fei's eyes. Without thinking too much, he directly took out the Eternal Dragon Court from his hand and looked at it carefully. Eternal Dragon Court, an absolutely defensive building that can withstand the unique environment without breaking. The system introduction is very simple, but such a sentence is enough to shock Long Fei. System, can you bear my strength? Long Fei couldn't help asking. Among other things, simply being able to withstand the uniqueness was enough to shock Long Fei. You think you're awesome? You're not the only one. The system responded angrily. A gleam flashed in Long Fei's eyes. This is an absolute artifact. With this thing, as long as the apocalypse does not come, his Dragon Court basically has no worries. Junior brother, you keep this thing. After I leave, you activate this thing, and a new Dragon Court will appear at that time. Then, Long Fei threw the storage ring, given by the previous 3, to the little Taoist priest. There are a lot of resources here. You look at the allocation. By the way, allocate more to these 2 goods. Long Fei confessed, and then looked at the 3 of Chongshan. As for the 3 of you, it's useless to stay here. I'll give you a chance to reorganize your power. These 3 systems are the power of the 3 guys before. You can integrate them. But there is one thing, I must be absolutely loyal. Long Fei said slightly threateningly, Dragon Lord, don't worry, we will do our best to assist Longting in the future and manage the Supreme World well. The 3 of Chongshan expressed their views quickly. Originally, with their aptitude, they might not be qualified to raise the system level to the level of Tiancheng in their whole life, but now they will get this kind of power through direct fusion, which is a fortune for them. As for betraying Long Fei, they didn't even dare to think about it. They were already absolutely convinced by Long Fei, plus what they had experienced today. Even if they lent them a few guts, they would not dare to harm Longting. My lord, don't favor one person over another. I have shed blood for Longting. Yes, master, I have sacrificed my life for Longting. At this time, Chunzhong and Hudu suddenly shouted. Originally, Long Fei said to allocate more to them, and they thought they were going to get up, but now they directly gave such a precious system to the 3 of them, which instantly made them feel that what Long Fei gave them was not good. Shut up, Long Fei interrupted directly, and then looked at the little Taoist priest. I will leave the coffin of eternal life to you, and I will also gather many mysterious and powerful forces. In the future, the development of Longting will depend on you. Long Fei said, looking at the 2 of them. From now on, you will practice with my junior brother, and you can cultivate the power of eternal life. When the 2 heard this, their aggrieved expressions immediately turned red. My master is awesome. Master, you are my god. The two rushed to express their opinions, but Long Fei didn't bother to pay attention to them. He looked at Long Ting again. His eyes were affectionate and gentle. At this moment, within the dragon court, Lu Luoxi and the others suddenly raised their heads and silently looked at the void. With the formation, they couldn't see outside, but at this moment, they all felt that Long Fei was watching them. It's Long Fei is back. Lu Luoxi looked excited. I feel it too. It's him, the big villain. But why didn't he come in? I feel so uncomfortable. It seems that he is going to leave us again. A voice appeared in the field. He has his own things to do. What we have to do is wait for him to come back and run the family well for him. But at this moment, behind everyone, Long Fei's mother suddenly spoke. After the endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 57:22. Chapter 57:22. The two sides seem to be looking at each other. The eyes of both sides seem to meet in the void. A city away, Long Fei didn't have the courage to step into the city. It's not that I don't want to, but some things require great courage. The apocalypse is imminent, and he is afraid that when he sees his close relatives, he will be afraid of the apocalypse. Now he still has the determination to meet Tian Qijia. He is afraid that his determination will be shaken when he sees Lu Luoxi and the others. After all, he is also a human being, and it is human nature to be reluctant. But there was another energy in Long Fei's heart. He has practiced all the way to this point, and there is the shadow of the sea behind him. And what the sea wants to see most is that the divine calamity is shattered. For this day, he has devoted countless years. although Long Fei spoke carelessly to Dahai on the surface, but in his heart, he was very grateful to Dahai. If it weren't for the sea, he wouldn't have made it this far. Damn it, what are you thinking about so much? A real man just do the apocalypse tribulation. Long Fei murmured to himself, and suddenly withdrew his eyes, and then set his eyes on Long Batian. Come with your real body. Let's go and fight in the void. I'm afraid that Long Ting won't be able to bear the fight here. After Long Fei finished speaking, he looked at the little Taoist, Chen Zhong, Huidou, and the Mad King. Guard the dragon court for me, and I will guard this world for you. Long Fei was full of pride and overwhelmed his tenderness. In the next moment, Long Fei's figure rose from the ground and disappeared into the world under everyone's gaze. The little Taoist burst into tears. He didn't know what Long Fei was going to do, but he knew that no matter what Long Fei did, it was for them. Brother, you must be very tired. He muttered to himself. When the tears in his eyes dissipated, his eyes also became firm. Reorganize the dragon court. At this moment, he was full of murderous aura, but including Kuang Wang and Zhongshan, their expressions suddenly became serious. They knew that all of this was because of Long Fei. Although they didn't know what happened to some of the mist pictures, they all knew that it must be related to Long Fei. For them, Long Fei paid too much. It is precisely because of this that everyone has only one belief in their hearts at this time, and that is to protect Long Ting for Long Fei. Long Fei's figure reappeared. It was already a galaxy hundreds of millions of miles away, and in front of him was a vortex of star clusters. In the middle is a blue energy cluster. Like the eyes of the heavens, it exudes a faint blue halo. There are scattered galaxies of light all around, and each cluster of light flickers, representing a planet. And take this as the initial point of sight. And after infinitely zooming in, you will find that this place seems to be involved in the infinite universe, and it is the center point of the endless galaxy. The place of origin has finally arrived. Long Fei pondered. Ahead is the place of origin. The place of origin is the birthplace of the system, and he knew from the very beginning that he would return here one day. But now, looking at the vortex floating in front of his eyes, Long Fei's heart was as calm as an ancient well, extremely calm. Maybe he used to be very afraid of this place and thought about the scene of coming back here countless times. But now, with the improvement of his strength, some innate threats to him here are becoming less and less, until now that he didn't have any other feelings anymore, so he could take it lightly. You know how to choose a place. You set the battlefield here. You want to fight. You really want me to help you fight. Fuck, you bastard. You used to be shameless when you were weak, but now that you've reached this level, it's hard to change your nature to be so shameless. Dahai was deceived, so he replaced me and brought you in. This is the worst thing he has ever done. Long Batian roared angrily. Also at this time, Long Batian's figure arrived, and seeing the blue vortex in front of him, Long Batian cursed directly, and his words were the quintessence of the country, and the gunfire continued one after another. He felt that Long Fei was too shameless. He is also the system owner, and his system naturally came out of the place of origin. Even he is not tolerated by the world of origin. I am afraid that he is still on the blacklist of the place of origin. And now that Long Fei has set the battlefield here, if there is a real life and death battle, the two of them will definitely burst out with a destructive momentum at that time, and the people in the origin world will definitely find out at that time. At that time, it will not be a life and death battle between him and Long Fei, but the place of origin. Thinking of this, Long Batian's teeth itch with hatred, secretly scolding Long Fei for being shameless. Calm down. We've reached the level of you and me. Opening your mouth is better than holding your mother. Isn't it too cowardly? Long Fei said without changing his expression. So what if it was exposed? Anyway, this is not the first time they have dealt with each other. Fuck. Why, you are allowed to do shameless things, but I am not allowed to say it. Long Bation's face turned red. No, you are also the only one after all. And you and I were both brought out by the sea. In a sense, we are brothers. Excuse me, don't hit me, Long Face said without turning red. Impossible. I admit that I am gambling, but there must be no one between you and me. Long Batian was so furious that he did not accept Long Fei's proposal at all. Grass, Long Batian, don't think I'm afraid of you. Let me tell you, you old Inbi shuttled in the trajectory of my life, tried to kill me several times, and tricked me secretly. I've wanted to kill you for a long time. Now, I do the reconciliation is already giving the high face. If you are given the steps, you will go down. If you are given the face, you will take it. Long Fei said coldly. Long Fei also got angry at their level, who would easily admit cowardice. If it wasn't for the system mission, he would have to fight him high and low. Oh, it's already at this time, so don't pretend to be coercive. You should act like you are a coward. Long Batian sneered. Shut up. Long Fei, will be stronger in my life. If there is no system task, I will kill you in minutes. Long Fei retorted. The momentum cannot be lost. Even if he had no intention of fighting, Long Fei couldn't understand Long Bation's stinky appearance. You still have a mission? Suddenly, Long Bation's expression changed, and he looked at Long Fei blankly. What do you mean? Long Fei asked. Damn it, my first-generation system just hiccuped and lay dead when I broke through to the unique state. It has been sleeping for hundreds of millions of years. Long Batian said bitterly, but soon he turned his gaze to Long Fei. So why is your system still alive? Long Batian asked back. The only state is the strongest existence in the heavens. It can be said that it is a limit of the boundless galaxy. After this state, the external force is minimal, and there is no help at all. But why is Long Fei's system still there? This is what confuses him the most. Could it be that Long Fei's system can allow him to go further? All of a sudden, Long Bation's eyes changed. He looked Long Fei up and down. Chapter 57:23. Chapter 57:23. Long Batian had no intention of making a move at this time. He knew that if there was a fight between him and Long Fei, if it was a life-and-death confrontation, Xinghe would not be able to bear it and collapse. Moreover, Dahai's plan was involved behind it, so he didn't dare to mess around. In contrast, Long Fei's words had a greater impact on him. It may be that my system was more serious about lying dead before. Long Fei said, this is true. His system is too up, lying down all the way, running around at every turn, calling it a test and a pretense. But in fact, he just can't do it, leaving Long Fei alone to bear it. What do you mean? Long Batian frowned. What Long Fei said surprised him. They were all system owners, and he had never encountered the situation Long Fei said. Long Fei raised his eyebrows. Could it be that your system has never been down? Long Fei asked. No, my system went all the way until I was invincible. What is the downtime? Long Batian said. Long Fei's face turned dark. Sure enough, the life of each system is different. Listen, did you hear the system? As a system, don't you feel ashamed and blame yourself? Long Fei couldn't help asking. In contrast, Long Bation's system is definitely conscientious. On the contrary, it is its own system, which is a bit of a dog, and the master of the fishing pit has everything. Ding, if the system doesn't have any pursuit, what's the difference between it and a salted fish? As a unique existence, your pattern needs to be opened. Don't forget, now his system has died, but I'm still here. System this time responded, and extremely arrogant. What is terminal death? Long Fei caught a sentence in the system response and asked hastily. That is to say, his mission setting is here. The unique realm is already the limit of Long Bashan. And I, after another evolution, directly became the unified system. That is to say, your limit may go further. The system was absolute this time, with an arrogance that overwhelmed everything. It seems that only he can do this in the world. Long Fei remained silent, although the system's response made him a little excited. The only realm can't stand the apocalypse tribulation, so how about going further? Long Fei couldn't help thinking, if it is really possible, then improving your cultivation will be your absolute pursuit in the future. But on another level, Long Fei felt a little worried. The previous system can be determined to be unearthed from the place of origin, which proves that the system is just pure code. But judging from the current response of the system, it has already surpassed that level. He now has a mind and a humanity. With this thought, a terrifying guess arose in Long Fei's heart. Could it be that his own system has evolved into a certain level of artifact, and the system that talks to him is the spirit of the artifact? Thinking of this, Long Fei couldn't help but shudder in his heart. But he will not show any thoughts for the time being. He suppressed it and then looked at Long Batian. It's meaningless to discuss these issues, but I don't hide it from you. I want to go to the place of origin to do tasks. I will definitely not fight with you, but if you have this dare to follow, I go in together. Long Fei said, Asshole, so what you said before was deceiving me. Long Batian said, angrily, Don't pretend. Even if you are really beaten, you don't dare to kill you. Otherwise, I don't need to do it. And the sea will kill you first, which is meaningless. Long Fei said, lightly, Besides, didn't you appear in Longting just to make a move? Long Fei said straight away, It is not a coincidence that Long Batian appeared in Longting, although he planned to fight with him. He also knew that there was no way for them to fight. Humph, as long as I don't kill you, I just want to prove to Dahai that I am stronger than you. Long Batian resented, but Long Fei was too lazy to respond. Stop talking nonsense. Come in with me if you have the guts. As soon as the voice fell, Long Fei's figure flashed, and it turned into a stream of light directly into the place of origin and disappeared after a short while. But as Long Fei's figure disappeared, a smile suddenly flashed on Long Bashan's face. Little bastard, let you do so many calculations. In the end, you still have to drink my foot-washing water. If you plot against me, I won't plot against you. Long Batian took a puff of his cigar and pushed his sunglasses. Dahai, do you think this kid will kill you if he finds out? Long Batian suddenly said, and turned to look in another direction. No. The figure of Dahai came out of nothingness and responded lightly. Are you so sure? If he knew that the land of origin is the only one created by hundreds, would he cry to death on the spot? Long Batian said with a smile, I don't know, but the current him is not worth his life. Dahai also looked at the place of origin, and his face gradually became serious. However, I don't know what you are laughing at. Dahai suddenly turned his face and looked at Long Batian. Long Batian was stunned for a moment, and panic appeared in his eyes. Brother, don't mess around. Haven't I already retired? Long Batian took 2 steps back. Seeing Dahai's expression, Long Batian suddenly felt uneasy, and he was not as domineering as before. Have I asked you to retire? Some experts on Earth have already announced that the retirement age should be postponed. So, Comrade Long Batian, you have a long way to go. Dahai said with a light smile, then raised his leg suddenly. One foot landed on Long Batian. I hate you. Long Batian said, miserably, but it was useless. The power of the sea has nowhere to hide, as long as he wants to make a move. No matter where you are, He can't hide. When Long Baishan's figure also disappeared in front of his eyes, he poured into the vortex like a spiral. Hai's face also became serious. The last battle, the apocalypse, has come, and the endless universe has begun to be destroyed. There is not much time left for you. It is not enough for me to reach that step alone, and you are needed. Two brats, don't let me down. The sea stares into nothingness, talking to itself. At this time, in the world of origin, Long Fei's figure landed on a piece of void planet. It seemed to be a dead star, and he couldn't feel any breath of life at all. Do you really think I'm stupid? Damn. The three idiots in the supreme world know that the unique realm is just the threshold to enter the origin world. Could it be that I'm not prepared? Long Fei murmured. He was trying to stimulate Long Batian to be true, but he also knew that Long Batian was pretending. The purpose is to let oneself enter the place of origin as soon as possible. Although he didn't feel the breath of the sea, he was sure that there must be the shadow of the sea behind it. So he took the initiative to attack and entered the place of origin. But be careful and start straight from the edge. Boom. Suddenly, a stream of light passed directly in front of him. Although it was far away, he still saw that the owner of that figure was Long Batian. Chapter 57:24. Chapter 57:24. The stream of light was fleeting, but Long Fei's eyes were full of astonishment. Is Long Batian such a dick? Recognizing the figure of Long Batian, Long Fei was extremely shocked. Here, at any rate, is the place of origin. He is so rampant, he really thinks that he is invincible. As expected of Long Batian, in that world, everyone called Long Batian is awesome. Long Fei expressed his real name Envy. They are also in the unique realm, but Long Baishan's performance is so good that even Long Fei is dumbfounded. Of course, Long Fei didn't know it. It wasn't Long Baishan's own will, but he was kicked in by Hai. Soon, Long Fei withdrew his thoughts and ignored Long Batian. Let him be his dick. And he has to save his own woman, so he should keep a low profile. Soon, Long Fei unfolded his consciousness and swept across the stars in front of him. This star is very strange, as if it is a newborn, but what I perceived before is lifeless, and now it is not appropriate to think about it. This planet is not lifeless. On the contrary, the vitality here has not yet exploded. It's as if it's still in the primordial age. Life hasn't evolved yet. Could it be that the stars are also conceived? It's like a baby? Suddenly, Long Fei had a guess in his heart. Then he looked at the original star. His eyes kept turning. The place of origin is the place of origin. It seems that I really don't know anything about this place. This place of origin seems to really contain the secret of origin, and even the stars were born. However, there is no rush to study these things. No matter what secrets there are in the place of origin, they can be solved in due time. The most urgent task is to rescue them first. Long Fei calmed down. Whether it's Xiaoya or Yi Yurong, they are all his women, no matter who they are. Long Fei will never let the file do anything to his women. Thinking of this, Long Fei started to contact the system. System, I have come to the place of origin. Do you have any guidance? The land of origin is vast and boundless, and even stars can be bred, as if it is itself a galaxy. In this barren galaxy, if there is no systematic guidance, looking for two people is tantamount to finding a needle in a haystack. Ding! Please go to the place where the stars have fallen. According to the information evolved by the system, the place where the two of their auras finally disappeared is the place where the stars have fallen. The system responded. Long Fei frowned slightly. The place where the stars fell. He pondered. Everything in the world will perish. To put it bluntly, when a universe is about to perish, everything needs to be destroyed and restarted. The same is true for stars, so naturally, there will be places for stars to fall. The system responded. Long Fei's eyes changed slightly. He has also considered this point. Since the place of origin can give birth to new stars, there must also be stars that die. To his surprise, this star also has a destination. Give me the coordinates. After a while, Long Fei woke up from his contemplation and said lightly, "Can you die without pretending? It's useless to give you the coordinates, but your strength may not even be able to penetrate the distance in between." The system sneered mercilessly. Long Fei pretended to be aggressive before. Within the dimension of the supreme world, with his only strength, it is easy to destroy a faction with one coordinate or even destroy a star or a civilization. But now, in this place of origin, the only realm is not the real one. The dimension here is much stronger than the supreme world, and it is truly boundless. With the power of Long Fei, it is impossible to do it. So, when Long Fei opened his mouth, he instinctively thought that Long Fei was pretending again. "Ahem, you're overthinking. I just asked for coordinates. How can I get there without coordinates?" Long Fei said, helplessly. To be honest, if it wasn't for the ridicule behind the system, Long Fei really wanted to try it. But since the system said so, then this idea can be cut off directly. Moreover, Long Fei also felt that even if he had reached the unique state after entering here, he could still feel an inexplicable power, as if above him there was an invisible on him. "No," the system responded coldly. "Don't make trouble. Have I been too nice to you recently?" Long Fei responded, "Do you think I look like I'm joking? This is the place of origin. There are infinite mysteries and boundlessness here. The system can deduce it to the place where the stars fall. As for the coordinates, it is impossible to detect." The system said, "Road." After saying this sentence, the system directly and artificially chose to shut down and fell silent. Long Fei lost contact with the system in an instant, and immediately his teeth itch, but there is no way. The system is now fine, and it is not controlled by him at all. Long Fei came back to his senses. Even without the guidance of the system, it is impossible for Long Fei to stand still. But now it is not considered ignorant. At least now it is considered to know the guidance of the place where the stars fell. Immediately, Long Fei's figure began to straddle the boundless galaxy. Time is immeasurable in the galaxy, and Long Fei also forgot this concept while traveling. Countless stars roared past him, but Long Fei didn't stop, because these stars are all newborns. Just like the one he encountered at the beginning, they are the latest stars to be born. Although they have extremely vigorous vitality, life and civilization have been born from a distance. How many years to wait? So there is absolutely no need to stop. But now, Long Fei's pace has begun to slow down, because in the area in front of you, life already exists above the stars. Although it is extremely primitive, it is undeniable that this is indeed the era of life. This place of origin is not simple. The area of stars seems to be arranged in a timeline. The deeper you go, the higher the level of life in the stars. If this is the case, then the next area should be a civilized area. As Long Fei moved forward, he thought in his heart. Thinking of this, Long Fei stopped. Look at the stars in the distance. But at this time, he seems to be from the perspective of God, and he can clearly and completely see the changes of the stars below. With a thought, Long Fei reached out and grabbed a star. Boom! But what he didn't expect was that a terrible natural disaster suddenly happened to the stars below. The area covered by his palm, the entire stars were shrouded in darkness, as if the dark age was coming. Long Fei gasped, I suddenly thought of the movies I saw on Earth. It was a movie about God in ugly country. The civilization of the stars is in his hands. If he wants, he can control the existence or destruction of the stars at will. And at this moment, he seems to have this ability. With a thought, Long Fei's consciousness drifted into the void. Soon, he saw an even more incredible scene. The stars he saw in his body state were extremely huge. But at this time, from the state of consciousness, his figure is like a giant, and the stars in front of him are like playthings in his palm. Thinking of this, a kind of understanding suddenly emerged in Long Fei's heart. The only existence Chapter 57:25. Chapter 57:25. At this moment, Long Fei understood in his heart. The scene in front of me was just like the movie I had seen before, but it was God. And at this moment, it was me. Ugly people really have two brushes. The picture fabricated out of thin air actually confirms the existence of the only one invisibly. Long Fei thought in his heart, the so-called unique existence is also relative. Just like this area, with his strength, he can be the strongest in this area of the star field. So this shows that he is the only existence. But of course, he didn't care about the so-called God Long Fei. If this kind of existence really exists, Long Fei also wants to say, "Give me the coordinates." A moment later, Long Fei set sail again. The civilization in this area has just begun, and there is no more useful information for me. Even if I continue to stay here, I will definitely not get the answer I want. Soon, the time was passed through again. Time and space seem to be eternal. Even Long Fei has forgotten the existence of Long Fei. But Long Fei's speed slowed down again. He could clearly perceive that in the nothingness in front of him, there was a faint power forming a dividing line. Are you going to the next civilization star field? Long Fei realized clearly in his heart that this power gap seemed to be a natural barrier, so mysterious that even Long Fei couldn't see through it. But this power can't stop Long Fei's footsteps. After stepping over, Long Fei felt a kind of civilized atmosphere from the pavement. Here, human beings have appeared. Although they are extremely primitive, they have also broken away from the category of primary life. Is there an Earth here? Long Fei thought in his heart, but soon Long Fei was taken aback by his own thoughts. If there really is an Earth here, wouldn't it prove the existence of a parallel time and space invisibly? In an instant, Long Fei's hair exploded in his heart. Fuck, no, we have to watch this wave. Long Fei thought to himself, the mystery of this place of origin is beyond imagination. If it is said that the only existence only shocked Long Fei, then this speculation is enough for Long Fei to confirm it urgently. Although the system task was urgent, the system didn't give any prompts or restrictions, which proved that the two of them were not in any danger now. So even if they stayed here for a while, it shouldn't be a big problem. Soon, Long Fei's figure shuttled again. He is looking for an existence similar to the Earth. Of course, his sights were mainly focused on the blue planet. As for the reason, I believe everyone knows. Soon, blue planets drifted past before Long Fei's scrutiny. When Long Fei saw the 10,000th blue planet, his face finally became solemn. So similar. What made Long Fei even more horrifying was that he suddenly thought of the two areas he had passed by before. And at this distance in that area, it seems that there is also such a planet. For a moment, a terrifying conjecture arose in Long Fei's heart. That is the endless sea of stars in the place of origin, like a reincarnation. When one group gets old, another group will take its place. Repeatedly, from destruction to birth, and from birth to destruction. It seems that it may not be a parallel time and space, but a galaxy of reincarnation. Long Fei's eyes gradually became serious. Even He was thinking at this time, if he continued to walk, he might be able to see his original Earth. As soon as his consciousness turned, Long Fei's figure fell silent and fell towards the blue planet. Whoosh! His figure directly turned into a streamer and entered the planet. And when he opened his eyes again, the picture presented in front of him made him even more heavy. He saw a familiar picture: jungles, mountains and rivers, and countless pedestrians wearing ancient costumes. And with their costumes, Long Fei is even more certain. The era they are in now is the ancient era. This joke is too big. I'm stupid. Long Fei couldn't be calm for a long time. At the beginning, he returned to the Earth, but in that dimension, the Earth developed freely according to the flow rate of time, which is completely different from the present. The only thing that made Long Fei unsure was what period this place was in. No matter what, since I came here, I have to do something. Long Fei forced himself to calm down, no matter whether his guess was right or not. He always felt that he came here not necessarily on a whim. At their level, every decision may be guided by some kind of force. Soon, Long Fei calmed down, and he began to spread his perception, covering the entire area in consciousness. When all the pictures were presented one by one, Long Fei also had an understanding of the world in front of him. Here is Insham. When I was practicing before, I encountered a mythical world. Although there are many familiar existences there, it should be different from here. There is the heavenly court, the Taoist ancestors, and the monkeys. Those are the existences in his memory, and now it's almost the same world again. This made Long Fei believe in his heart that there might be some power here that he needs. The Yin and Shang era, to put it bluntly, is the era of conferring gods, and it is undeniable that among all the myths and legends on Earth, the era of conferring gods should be the strongest era. It seems that I have to study it carefully. Maybe I can find the answer I want from here. Long Fei muttered to himself. For a moment, he looked forward. In the void, a figure suddenly descended. The aura of this person is extremely strong, and it seems to be integrated with this piece of heaven and earth, and every move has the power to affect the heaven and earth, the mother of the human race. Almost in an instant, Long Fei guessed the identity of the person in front of him. This is a saint, and the mother of the legendary human race, the only woman among the 6 saints. In the world I entered back then, the mother of the human race was pretty good. Long Fei thought to himself. The next moment, he looked at Nu Hua with great interest. At this time, Nu Hua seemed to feel something. Her eyes slightly looked around, and her brows were slightly frowned. Strange, why does it feel like someone is watching me? Nu Hua expressed surprise on her face. This scene made Long Fei feel surprised, and his face showed a strong interest. He is too aware of what level he is now. This age of conferred gods is indeed very strong, and it may be the closest to detachment. But compared with the current self, it is still too far behind. So at this time, Nu Hua actually felt her own existence, which made him more interested. Interesting, he can actually perceive my existence. It seems that there are indeed secrets in this era. If this is the case, then we have to dig it out. Long Fei thought in his heart, walking towards Nu Hua step by step, and even took the initiative to expose her own figure. I've met fellow Taoists, but I didn't know that you appeared in my dojo. What's the matter? Chapter 57:26. Chapter 57:26. Long Fei took the initiative to show up wearing a fluttering black robe. This is the only costume in the suit, and it is the only one under all the heavens. For a moment, Nu Hua looked at Long Fei with a slightly absent-minded look. This is your dojo, Nu Hua said with a frown. Her expression was very unnatural at this time. When facing Long Fei, she actually had a feeling of being seen through as if she was naked, and she had been fully exposed in front of Long Fei at this moment. That's right. I've been sleeping here before, but I just woke up in the past few days. I sense that there are 3 evildoers making trouble in my dojo, so I was about to show up and kill them, but unexpectedly, I ran into a fellow Taoist. Long Fei leisurely said he had scanned this place with his consciousness before. This is Xianyuan Tomb, and the 3 demons he mentioned are Nine-Tailed Fox, Hushime, and Pipa Jing. Although he doesn't know much about the Age of Conferred Gods, he still has some basic understanding. But now that Nuwa appeared here, Long Fei also had a guess in his mind that it must be Nuwa who sent the 3 of them to confuse the Xian. Then came the Conferred God War. Also from this moment on, there is no king in the world, only the Son of Heaven. What is the Son of Heaven? That is the Son of the Sky. The king's life is bestowed by heaven. But since Long Fei appeared here now, naturally this scene will not happen again. After hearing Long Fei's words, Nuwa's expression became even more solemn. She came here for the 3 monsters of the Xianyuan Tomb, but now hearing Long Fei's tone, it seemed that she wanted to kill them. If this is the case, wouldn't his plan be in vain? But facing Long Fei at this moment, her heart was extremely complicated. As a sage of heaven, she couldn't see through Long Fei at all at this moment. She tried to calculate in her heart, but she only saw chaos and knew nothing about it. I don't believe that, as a sage of heaven, I can't see through a person who suddenly appears. Nuwa thought in her heart. The next moment, she began to use the power of heaven, and even used the map of mountains and rivers to shield the secrets of heaven, so as to prevent Long Fei from sensing it. However, she was too confident. With Long Fei's current strength, this kind of fluctuation can't be hidden from his eyes at all. Long Fei didn't say a word, just looked at Nuwa quietly, not to mention, if there is really perfection in this world, Nuwa must be one of them. However, what surprised Long Fei was that the Nuwa here seemed to be different from what he saw in the mythical era when he entered the Earth immortal realm on Earth. It seems that there is still some gap between the two after all. But it doesn't matter, no matter what is involved behind it, you can't escape the law of Long Fei. I have come, I conquer. Long Fei thought in his heart. Therefore, he did not obstruct Nuwa's small movements at this time, and even took the initiative to reveal some aura. Sure enough, when the information leaked by Long Fei was perceived by Nuwa, Nuwa felt bad all over. Her face changed drastically, even with a little panic. If people in this world saw this, their jaws would drop in shock. This is a sage of heaven. What existence could make him reveal such an expression? At this moment, Nuwa even withdrew her gaze and withdrew all her temptations. It's too scary, surpassing the way of heaven, the only one in the heavens. How is this possible? The Tao of heaven is the strongest rule. How could someone be able to override the Tao of heaven? This is impossible. Nuwa had endless doubts in her heart. Subconsciously, she thought of Daozu and wanted to pass on this information. But for a moment, her mind went blank. It was as if some kind of memory had been lost. Nuwa obviously also realized this, and when she looked at Long Fei again, her eyes were full of awe. Nuwa has seen fellow Taoists before, but I don't know this is the dojo of fellow Taoists. Please forgive me for offending you. However, Nuwa also asks fellow Taoists to make it easier. For Nuwa's sake, I can bypass the 3 demons. Nuwa said, saluting gracefully. Long Fei smiled lightly and remained silent. Mock up. It's too hard, and you still use a beauty trick. But this won't work. It's useless to give you a chance. Just use this to test the cadres. The beauty is there, but what about the scheme? No, that sucks. Thinking of you, Long Fei said softly. It's not impossible to let them go, but is this the gesture of fellow Taoists begging for help? Long Fei said with a smile. Nuwa was stunned for a moment, feeling humiliated in her heart. After all, she is a sage of heaven, and now she has bowed her head on her own initiative. Why doesn't he count? What else does he want to do? There was anger in her heart, but facing Long Fei, she still didn't dare to show it. After a while, she said, I don't know what you want. If Nuwa can do it, she will definitely not refuse. Nuwa said, people under the eaves had to bow their heads. The power displayed by Long Fei was too powerful, especially the information she deduced, which shocked her even more. Faced with such an existence, she also wanted to make a good relationship. Well, I just woke up, and I still lack a maid by my side. I think you are pretty good. Long Fei said softly, but in an instant, anger appeared on Nuwa's face. She glared and looked at Long Fei. Friend Taoist has great powers. Nuwa is not qualified. She flatly refused. She is a dignified saint. How could she condescend to be a maid by Long Fei's side? If this is the case, then where is Her Majesty? It's okay, that's your loss. But I can give you a chance. If you want to come in the future, I welcome you anytime. But now, since you have refused to wait for my proposal, then leave. I will protect the 3 monsters of the Xianyuan tomb. Long Fei said lightly, and did not say anything harsh to Nuwa. Moreover, he believed that Nuwa would come to him one day. Nothing else with this strength. Since fellow Taoists want to protect them, Nuwa will naturally save face. In this case, Nuwa will leave. Nuwa said angrily, turned, and left indifferently. Long Fei stared at the direction where Nuwa's figure disappeared with great interest, with a small smile on his lips. Still coming out. Wait until I kill you. Suddenly, Long Fei said softly, but even though his voice was very soft at this time, when it descended, it was like thunder roaring, exploding instantly. Bang, bang, bang. 3 figures jumped out of the ground, vomited blood, and landed not far in front of Long Fei, the 9-tailed fox, and the others looked at Long Fei with panic on their faces. To them, the existence of Long Fei was simply a great terror. They saw what happened before. He never expected that even the sage of heavenly Tao would have to suffer in front of Long Fei, and then left in despair. I've seen you, my lord. Thank you, my lord, for trying to save me. If it wasn't for my lord, we might have lost our lives at the hands of the sage of heaven. 9-tailed fox spoke directly. After all, he is a 9-tailed fox with an extremely sharp mind. Seeing that Long Fei had no intention of killing them, he said immediately. Long Fei laughed. You are smart. You are worthy of the 9-tailed fox clan. Unfortunately, I already have a bed-warming girl of the 9-tailed fox clan, so I have no choice but to give up on you. Long Fei said, with a look in his eyes. Pity, although it is said that there are no multiple-choice questions in the adult world. But now Tushan Xiaoya is still in crisis. If he messes with her ancestors here, it will be unreasonable both emotionally and rationally. Chapter 57:27. Chapter 57:27. But among the 3, the one that Long Fei cared the most was not 9-tailed fox, but Hushime. Although except for the 9-tailed fox, the remaining 2 are cannon fodder. But Hushime's origin is not simple. She practiced in Zixiao Palace. Long Fei didn't think there was any idiot in this world who dared to use such a title to define his dojo. But at this moment, Long Fei didn't care about it. Confidence comes from strength. Now that he has the strength of the only realm, coming here is a dimensionality reduction blow. And it is not too much to say that he is a master-like existence. Benefactor is lying to my family, right? In this prehistoric continent, my family is the only 9-tailed fox. Where did Benefactor come from to warm the bed? 9-tailed fox is really 9-tailed fox, With a frown and a smile, they are all charming. Long Fei's heart was clear, and at this moment he was also agitated. Back then, he put his hands in his pockets and had no opponent to dominate Xiao Mingshan. But now it is also in disrepair for a long time, and there has been no high-speed racing for a long time. Little fox, don't play with fire and set yourself on fire. As we all know, I Long are the most affectionate in the world. Long Fei suppressed the evil fire, and then looked at Hu Shimei. Did you come down from Zixiao Palace? Long Fei asked. Although he already knew Hu Shimei's background, he still had to go through the necessary procedures. Hu Shimei's face suddenly changed. This is a secret in her heart. Even Nine-Tailed Fox and Peepa Jing have never told her about it. But this person in front of her can tell the truth. It's too scary. But in the face of Long Fei's words, she still didn't dare to hide anything, and she didn't dare to disobey the existence that could make even the saints of the heavenly way leave in despair. Long is really powerful, and Shimei really came out of Zixiao Palace. Hu Shimei said. Her nature was hard to change, her eyes were blurred, and she looked like she was drooling over Long Fei. Speak well. Long Fei snorted coldly. This is challenging his weakness. A nine-tailed fox is already too much for him. And now there is another Hu Shimei who can stand it. Fortunately, Peepa Jing didn't make a move. Otherwise, I really can't beat six hands with two fists. Yes, Shimei, speak up. Seeing Long Fei get angry, Hu Shimei naturally didn't dare to scratch her head, but this cute look made it even more difficult for Long Fei to restrain herself. While breathing, Long Fei forcibly suppressed it. No wonder Nu wanted them to charm DXIN. I couldn't resist myself, let alone him, a human emperor. But as soon as this thought fell, the silent Peepa spirit also spoke. Thank you, Benefactor, for saving your life. If it wasn't for Benefactor, Peepa might have died tragically by now. The little girl has nothing to repay. She can only promise her with her body. Long Fei stared blankly. Shut up. With such an old-fashioned plot, does he really think that Long Fei is a hungry ghost? With a scolding sound, Long Fei looked at Nine-Tailed Fox again. Don't keep thinking about this charming thing. Let me ask you, who arranged for you to live in Xianyuan Tomb? If you say a few more words, Long Fei will feel that he can't control himself. But for now it's business. Ah, eunuch, the slave family has been here since birth, and has always been here. Nine-Tailed Fox responded. Along, I haven't been here for a long time, only a few hundred years, but it seems that after I ran out of Zixiao Palace, there was a kind of power guiding me here. Hu Shimei said, Along, I am the jade Peepa buried in Xuanyuan's tomb. The three answered one after another. Long Fei fell silent. In his understanding, there is no description of the origin of this paragraph. At first he thought it was arranged by Nuwa, but now it seems that it is not that simple, especially Hu Shimei, who ran out of Zixiao Palace and said that there was a force guiding her here. This means that either the world here is different from what I know, or what I know is only on the surface, and there are many secrets behind it. However, Long Fei didn't care at all. Absolute strength is there. He is not at the peak when he comes out, but always at the peak. Even if the way of heaven in this world comes, he can be destroyed easily. I didn't come here on a whim. I've been aware of this since the time I came here, including when I was traveling through the galaxy. I suddenly had a feeling in my heart to find an Earth-like planet. And now I'm here. It's not aimless, Long Fei thought in his heart. Every thought and movement of his can involve monstrous karma. But the only thing that made Long Fei feel helpless was that the system didn't trigger the task when he came here, so he could only start it by himself. But just as he was thinking about it, the voice of the system suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the player for triggering the hidden mission, creating uniqueness, and unlocking the mystery of civilization. Ding! The heavens are disillusioned. Only one can create eternity. Ding, mission requirements. Players need to resolve the calamity in this world and lead one person to achieve the unique realm. Ding, mission time, 3 years. Ding, task reward, the cause of the heavenly tribulation. The sound of the system stopped abruptly, and it was still the same formula as before. The only difference is that there seems to be no system penalty now. System, if you have anything to say, let's say it on the bright side. If you can't complete this task, what will be the punishment? Long Fei asked. The current system is not what it used to be. If some things were not explained clearly, Long Fei had no idea. In other words, from the moment the last time the system ran first in the Eternal Land, there was already a crisis of trust between the two. There is no system penalty. The system responded. No punishment? Are you so kind? Or do you have a conscience and feel sorry for me? Long Fei asked. System. The system pondered for a moment and finally said, Why didn't you punish you? You are the only one. Do you think the system has the means to kill a unique one? The system responded and finally shut itself off. Long Fei thought about it. Indeed, in this place of origin, the only realm is absolutely invincible, and the system flowed out here in the first place. To some extent, the system may be created by the unique environment. Under such circumstances, what the system said is completely understandable, and he may not have the ability to punish himself at all. Suddenly, Long Fei felt refreshed. Ding, players, please calm down. Please take the task seriously. On the one hand, it can quickly improve your cultivation base, and on the other hand, the tribulation of heavens is related to the tribulation of apocalypse. At this moment, another sentence came out of the suddenly silent system. It seemed that he understood Long Fei's thoughts and activated the warning. Long Fei's expression froze. Really? I just said that I won't perceive mistakes. Long Fei was even more sure of his previous guess. At the beginning, he felt that, since he came here, he would definitely gain something, now that the system task release has also confirmed his guess. All Heaven's Tribulation-ine, the name sounds very bad, and it's about Tianqi Jia. Long Fei pondered. Nothing else, it's done. As long as it was about Tianqi tribulation, Long Fei would definitely not retreat. System, is there any task reminder? Long Fei continued to ask. Chapter 57:28. Chapter 57:28, although the task was clear, it was still not enough for Long Fei. Moreover, Long Fei was a little suspicious of himself. After all, I am not the sea. The sea can cultivate itself to be the only one, and countless years and calculations have been involved in this process. And there is also the help of the system. But now, in this world, is it really possible to help others become the only one? Thinking of this, Long Fei even wondered if the system was cheating himself, giving himself a task that he couldn't finish at all. Ding! The forbidden land of the heavens, in the precarious sea of blood, said the system voice. Long Fei's eyes lit up. This is not bad. The system is very cooperative this time, and actually gave a reminder. Although the reminder is a bit forced, it is better than nothing. System, can you speak human language? Long Fei continued, in a vague way. The hint given by the system was a location, but it was too general. Although he was the only one, if he wanted to, he could wrap up the entire prehistoric world in one thought. Moreover, with his current cultivation base, is there any place in this world that is taboo for him? Only this time. The system didn't say any more, and Long Fei could only sigh helplessly. After a while, Long Fei came to his senses and looked in front of him. Is there any taboo in this world? His thoughts have been swept before. There is no such existence in this world. unless there is some place where even one's own thoughts can be hidden. If there is, then the person I am looking for is very likely to be there. A forbidden place in the heavens. Anong, are you joking? How can there be such an existence in front of you? Nine-tailed fox is very good at talking. First, he showed shock, covered his mouth with an expression of disbelief, and then became worship is incomparable, benefactor, with your strength, even the sages of heaven and Tao have to give face, so there must be no such place in this world. Long Fei was speechless. The first version of female licking dog in history? This can be licked. This is better than Qinzhong. Although you speak nicely, I don't have time to joke with you now. Or, is there any place in this world that even the Tao of heaven cannot control? Long Fei continued to ask. Nine-tailed fox didn't dare to be presumptuous at this time, but just shook his head. Long Fei's eyes were a bit disappointed, but it's no wonder they were in this world. They couldn't help themselves. They couldn't even control their own destiny. So how could they know the secrets of this world? Anong, I do know a few places. It seems that I heard a few words from Daozu in Zixiao Palace before. Suddenly, Hushime spoke. Long Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. This is really a bright future. I thought it would be difficult to start now, but I didn't expect Hushime to give me a reminder at this moment. Tell me. Long Fei forced himself to feel relieved and happy. After all, he still had to be a master. He was already invincible in front of them, so he naturally had to maintain this style. I once heard Tao say that in the depths of the chaos, the origin of gods and demons, and the extremes of the sea of blood are all places that even the light of the Tao of heaven dare not set foot in. Hushime said, but Long Fei's eyes moved. He is not interested in what the first two are. No matter how awesome chaos is, he is not as awesome as him. So he was uninteresting. What really moved him was what Hushime said in the last sentence. The extreme of the sea of blood. These two words are also included in the system's prompt, and if they match up now, then one's destination is considered to be found. Where is the extreme of the sea of blood? Long Fei asked. Hushime shook her head. The Taoist ancestor didn't say this, but I think that the Nether Blood Sea should be the only place that can be related to the Blood Sea in this prehistoric world. Hushime said, the Nether Blood Sea, I know. Long Fei nodded slightly. Styx killed himself back then. How could he forget? But now, for me, the level of Styx is already negligible for me. Ben Gong, there are two very strong people in the Nether Blood Sea. Seeing that what she said fit Long Fei's thoughts, Hushime immediately opened her mouth and prepared to say more. But before she finished speaking, don't interrupt Long Fei directly. Needless to say, I'm not interested in knowing. Long Fei said, lightly, does Long Fei need others to teach him about pretending to be coercive? Non-existent. He walked with his hands behind his back and slowly looked towards the sky. No matter how strong they are not as strong as me anyway. After finishing speaking, he looked at the sky at a 45-degree angle, revealing a touch of sadness. But at this time, the nine-tailed fox and the other three were very fond of this trick. When they heard Long Fei's words, their eyes were immediately obsessed. Anytime, any era, people are always chasing the strong, without exception. But at this moment, Long Fei was basically synonymous with invincibility in their eyes, and if they followed such a strong man, how could they survive this calamity? Although they are demons, they are not ignorant. They have also heard about the calamity of the heaven and the earth, and even when New Wa came before, they had already felt that it must be related to the calamity, and relying on their cultivation base. Once they are mixed into the calamity, the last thing waiting for them is a dead end. But now, when they met Long Fei, they instinctively felt that this might be their only chance to survive. Therefore, at this moment, they have made up their minds and their hearts. No matter what, they will follow Long Fei to death. Long Fei naturally knew what they were thinking. Since he came here, saving them was nothing more than casual. Okay, you guys get up, just practice hard here. Long Fei said. After finishing speaking, Long Fei's figure flashed and disappeared into the world. Now his most urgent task is to go to the so-called extreme of the Blood Sea to see. Sister, what kind of existence is this? Long Fei's figure disappeared. Fushime quickly looked at Nine-Tailed Fox and said, I don't know, but I know that he is the foundation for the three of you and me to survive. You have also seen that Emperor Xianyuan told us about the danger of calamity for the sake of our merits in guarding the grave. Nuwa saints come here. Everything has been explained. If it weren't for this person, we might have been involved in the calamity. Nine-Tailed Fox said. His face was extremely firm. Eldest sister is right, but what should he do now that he's gone? Fushime's face was extremely disappointed. It doesn't matter. Since he asked us to practice hard here, then we will practice hard here and wait for him. I believe he will return. Nine-Tailed Fox looked at the direction Long Fei left and thought to himself. After a while, the figures of the three also disappeared. But what they didn't know was that just after they left, a figure suddenly appeared above Xianyuan tomb. It is Nuwa. Who is he? Where did he come from with such a terrifying aura? Chapter 57:29. Chapter 57:29. Nuwa had already left, but she was unwilling and turned back. Just seeing Long Fei's melancholy expression looking up at the sky, he almost had two words written on his face. Invincible. The origin of this person is unknown, but his strength is terrifying. I have never felt this kind of aura from Daozu. Nuwa was even more afraid. No, the God-conferred tribulation is already planned, and there is absolutely no way I can make mistakes in my part. Nuwa thought. Her eyes gradually firmed up. Since the three monsters in the Xianyuan tomb are not successful, then go directly to Su Daji. I believe that, as a saint, she will definitely agree. Nuwa thought in her heart. Her eyes gradually released light. But what she didn't know was that when her figure reappeared above Xianyuan tomb, Long Fei had already sensed it, but Long Fei didn't bother to respond. In the current system guidance, she hasn't reached her level yet, so Long Fei doesn't care at all. In contrast, Long Fei wanted to know who that person was in the prompt given by the system. After all, it is not easy to create a unique one. A moment later, Long Fei's figure appeared on a sea of blood. At his level, it is not easy for him to find the Netherworld Blood Sea. It's a bit different. Long Fei's eyes froze slightly. For the Nether Blood Sea, Long Fei had an impression in his mind. But in memory, there is no way to compare with this place, not to mention the area, even the breath. It seems that it is not unreasonable to come here. Although it is a familiar world, it is an unfamiliar force. Long Fei thought in his heart. At this moment, Long Fei also realized that there was something wrong with the change in his mentality. He has confidence in himself and can still be arrogant. But this will inevitably miss some things, and this world is related to the apocalypse tribulation, so Long Fei naturally became cautious in his heart. After a while, Long Fei adjusted his mentality, but at this moment, the boundless sea of blood suddenly rolled up, and the scarlet air was overwhelming, as if some great horror was about to appear. Long Fei watched with great interest. Soon, a figure appeared in front of Long Fei. Who are you? Dare to set foot on the sea of blood. Do you want to die? A voice appeared. It's just that this voice made Long Fei laugh and cry. The sound is like the friction of pig iron. The yin and yang are integrated, just like the public release, with its own echo. Is it necessary? What kind of presents are you looking for? A little bastard, so Long Fei thought it was the ancestor sticks who appeared. Seeing that Long Fei didn't speak, the man spoke again. I'm asking you something? Didn't you hear it? Do you want to try the sharpness of my Azura demon knife? Get lost. Long Fei's eyes froze, and his voice sank. Presumptuous. How dare you? In an instant, the man's eyes flickered, and his voice was sharp. But Long Fei didn't bother to talk nonsense, so he waved his hand casually. In an instant, the sea water in the Nether Blood Sea turned into a long knife and swept across it directly. Pooh! The figure collapsed instantly, as if it had never appeared before. This is just a small episode, which is harmless to Long Fei. Soon, Long Fei's figure continued to move forward. He didn't cross the sea of blood, but moved forward slowly. It's not for the convenience of pretending to be coercive, but to confirm my guess. As time passed, as Long Fei got deeper and deeper, his expression became more and more serious. It's getting more and more interesting. The breath oppression here has reached the apocalypse level, and the creatures in the sticks can still survive in it. Doesn't this mean that even ordinary Azuras in it already have apocalypse realm? What about patriarch sticks? Long Fei thought in his heart. It's just a pity that so far no one has taken the initiative to come out. Galloping all the way, several hours passed in the blink of an eye. It's just that this ghostly sea of blood still seems to have no end in sight. Long Fei lost his patience and made a random move. Rumble! The sky is thundering. Thunderbolts suddenly appeared from nothingness, fierce and brutal, flickering on the Styx River, rippling and shining the light of darkness. Smash the darkness with thunder. It's not bad, but it's a pity that it's a bit of a second grade. I knew that I would bring the three of them here. If I let them say this, I would definitely feel it. Long Fei thought in his heart, feeling a little regretful in his heart. But he wouldn't say anything like that himself. Too much middle school. However, there was no need to speak at all. When the thunder appeared, a burst of tyrannical aura suddenly erupted above this sea of blood. Long Fei calmly waited quietly. Boom, boom, boom. The next moment, several figures suddenly emerged from the sea of blood, each with a green face and fangs, with a terrifying aura and a long light shining. It's as if they don't feel sorry for their identity as creatures of the ghostly blood. See if they don't have some horror effects. Apocalypse second level, third level? Looking at the figures in front of him, Long Fei's eyes became brighter. Divided by strength, their power has already surpassed the original mythical world, and even equaled the previous supreme world. Moreover, these existences are not the strongest in the Styx. Let Patriarch Mingi come out to see me and give you a chance of life. Long Fei said lightly. Logically speaking, Patriarch Styx is the strongest existence in this Nether Blood Sea. As long as he sees him, his guess will be solved easily. What ancestor Styx? What are you talking about? But in the next moment, when the creatures in the Nether Blood Sea suddenly spoke, Long Fei realized how wrong he was. The people here don't even know Patriarch Styx? But Long Fei could sense that they were not lying. Long Fei's pupils suddenly shrank. This world, there is no Patriarch Styx. This was the first time Long Fei was shocked after he came to this world. Even when facing Nuwa, he didn't feel this way, but he had to be moved. If there is no Patriarch Styx in this world, it proves that his previous guess may be wrong. This world, maybe it's not the prehistoric gods I thought. The next moment, Long Fei raised his hand and grabbed one of the figures and directly photographed one of the figures in front of his eyes. His eyes moved, and his thoughts rushed into the other party's soul. After a while, Long Fei let go of his hand. Lord Apocalypse, Chaos Troll? Is he the head of this Nether Blood Sea? It's just this name and this figure. What the hell? Long Fei murmured, but suddenly his expression changed drastically. Damn it, it's him. It's this kid. Why did he come here? I know. It's the sea. It must be the sea. The sea has changed the world. Long Fei suddenly came to his senses. When you reach the unique realm, it is not a complicated matter to change the world. In particular, Dahai's strength is stronger than he imagined. If he wants to change the world, it will not be too simple. Even intervening in this world at the very beginning of its birth is a breeze. The extreme of the sea of blood. So, the only person I want to assist is Tianqi. Give it a go. Chapter 57:30. Chapter 57:30. Long Fei thought in his heart, and his eyes gradually settled down. He also waved his hand casually, and the endless thunder spread away in the void, slapping on the nether sea of blood. Boom, boom, boom. Those figures retreated into the void in an instant. In the face of such a terrifying force, they have no power to parry at all. If it wasn't for Long Fei's mercy, the group would be wiped out this time. You bastard. You haven't come out yet. Are you waiting for Master to come down to find you? Long Fei scolded with a smile. Rumble. But the moment Long Fei's voice fell, the entire nether blood sea scattered directly from the middle. A broad road appeared. And at the end of this road, there is a palace. In the palace, a magnificent throne is placed on it. But there was no one on it. Instead, outside the palace, a young man in a black robe quietly looked at Long Fei in the void. Master, the young man said softly, it's really you. I didn't expect to meet you here. Long Fei also had surprise in his eyes. Although he had guessed before, Long Fei was still extremely shocked at the moment. The young man shrugged slightly with an indifferent expression on his face. I knew you would come, Tianxin, so I haven't come out to see. Tianqi didn't show an overly excited expression. But it's normal. He appeared here just to wait for Long Fei's arrival. For him, it was something that already knew its end. Heaven's heart is here. Long Fei was slightly shocked, thinking of the little girl back then who begged him hard. Soon, a figure came out of the palace, dressed in a black robe, extremely graceful. What's more, it's open now. Just from the appearance, the nine-tailed fox can't stand it. Master, Tianxian also said lightly, Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei felt a slight sense of frustration in his heart. Did I just fail like this as my master? They didn't look excited when they saw themselves. Bad review. Such a disciple is not worth mentioning. Suddenly, several other figures came to Long Fei's mind. Nanyu, Mengyue, are you all okay? Seeing things and thinking about people, these two rebels with a body of 100 pounds and a bone of 80 pounds are too disrespectful of the teacher. In comparison, the other two female disciples are better. As for Xidagarba, he has been expelled from the sect in his heart. Male disciple, don't worry about it. At this time, in the world of infinite galaxies, a little bald head sneezed silently, and then had a sad expression on his face. Senior sister, I feel that Master doesn't want me anymore. Dizong looked aggrieved. No, Master values you very much. Why would he not want you? Li Mengyue, who was dressed in white, said softly, Yes, don't talk nonsense about some things. After all, when will Master want to pass you by? On the other side, Mu Nanyu in a long black dress joked. In an instant, Jaizo's face turned pale. The screen turned above the sea of blood. Long Fei tried his best to calm down his emotions. To be honest, you don't seem to be my disciples. Long Fei said with a sigh, To be honest, have you done what a master should do? Tianxian looked up at Long Fei with a bit of complaint in her eyes. Obviously, he was holding a grudge against the original experience. Hey, you have misunderstood me too much. If you can't cut a jade, you have to understand my good intentions. By the way, it was Dahai who let you in, so do you know how Dahai tricked me? Do you know me? How did you get here? Long Fei asked a few words back. Tianqi and Tianxin were at a loss for a moment. Originally, he wanted to give Long Fei a blow and let him know how much he did back then. But now, hearing Long Fei's words, they suddenly felt that the Master Long Fei was very caring. In an instant, the complaints in my heart disappeared without a trace. Not only no complaints, but full of guilt. Master, I was wrong. Master, I was wrong. Tianqi and Tianxin spoke one after another. Only then did Long Fei nodded in satisfaction, still too young. At this time, the creatures in the Nether Blood Sea were already shocked by the scene in front of them. Is this still the existence of the Sage of Heaven that they can challenge? What about taking them to dominate Invincible? Why do you have to be so humble in front of a young man now? Also, what's the situation, Master? Wasn't my master transformed by the turbid chi of the great God who created the world? Didn't it come into being? Why do you suddenly have a master, and you are still so young? For a moment, their hearts were all in a state of confusion, and they couldn't believe what they saw. But naturally, no one explained it to them. A moment later, Long Fei entered the Lord's nether hall and sat on the eternal throne unceremoniously. So, the sea really mobilized the power of time and space to send you in across time and space. What about the original ancestor sticks? Long Fei asked. Killed. Have eaten. Two voices appeared one after another. Naturally, Tianxin said to kill, but Tianqi said to eat. On this point, Long Fei still believed in Tianqi. Afterwards, Apocalypse recounted what they had experienced after entering this world. Even Long Fei called him a good guy. When he heard it, this is tantamount to a perfect reproduction of the experience of Patriarch Styx. Zixiao Palace listened to the Tao, intercepted Hongyun, controlled the Karma Red Lotus. Abi Yuan to Two Swords created the Shura clan. Perfect reproduction, no sense of disobedience. Needless to say, there must be the arrangement of the sea behind this. But that's okay. Tianqi is already powerful, and now with his prestige in this world, he only needs to make a small move to make him reach the limit of this cultivation base, and even break through to the unique realm with ease. Master, that senior asked us to wait for you here. In fact, to let you help someone. While Long Fei was thinking about it, Tianqi's voice suddenly came from his ear. Long Fei was stunned for a moment, then looked at Tianqi in confusion. Why didn't you help me? After finishing speaking, Long Fei felt something was wrong. It is clear that Tianqi's identity is in line with the current system tasks, and it happens to be Tianqi. No matter from which angle you think about it, it should be him. It's not me, but the teacher's wife. Tianqi continued. Master, Long Fei had deep doubts in his eyes, but soon he stood up suddenly, looked through the endless sea of blood, and at the end of the sea of blood, he saw a very familiar figure, Qing Ying. And the moment Long Fei saw Qing Ying's eyes also looked at Long Fei. She smiled lightly at the corner of her mouth, and the ghostly wind blew the hair on her face. Soft but messy, the faint smile on the corner of the mouth seemed to carry the longing of the ages. Instantly, Long Fei had mixed feelings in his heart. You came. Qing Ying's voice penetrated countless distances and said lightly, I'm coming. Long Fei stepped forward and responded firmly. Chapter 57:31. Chapter 57:30. The two looked at each other for 1,000 years. At the end of the sea of blood between reincarnations. For Long Fei, every woman he has is extremely important, and there is one woman who is the most special, that is Qing Ying. when I was in the eternal place, I found myself from life to life, but in those memories, I was with me from life to life. That person is Qing, as if invisible. Fate had already been involved between the two of them. The next moment, Long Fei's figure appeared in front of her. Stare at each other. Deep thoughts are in the bottom of my eyes. Won't you leave me again in this life? Qing asked. No, the apocalypse tribulation can't be stopped, as I said. Long Fei said firmly. Needless to say, Qing Ying's figure leaned directly against Long Fei's chest. I miss you, Qing Ying said in a low voice. Long Fei's blood spurted immediately. Needless to say the rest, it's only natural when the love is deep. When the figures of the two reappeared, they had already appeared in front of a huge world. This is the reincarnation I constructed. To be honest, I have walked through world after world in it just to find your figure and see you again. But in the end I realized that you are really the only one. Qing Ying said softly, but every word can touch Long Fei's heart. This love talk, high-end, I am the only one. And you are the same to me. Long Fei said. He just added a sentence in his heart. The only one. Long Fei thinks that all the heavens are the most affectionate, so naturally he can't do things like favoring one another, since they are all his own women. Everyone is equal. Qing Ying wrinkled her nose and said coquettishly, I believe in you. Long Fei blushed. This woman stayed with Hai for a while, so she must have heard about her affairs. So any explanation at this time is superfluous. The only one is to kiss her. With a deep kiss, the figures of the two became entangled again, completely ignoring Tianqi and Tianxin, who were watching from a distance. Do you think the two of them are going to be this boring? Tianqi said. He felt that the relationship between men and women was really too boring. No, I think it's too difficult for them. They stayed together for one era after another, but they had to separate. Now, they finally meet again. I hope they will never have any problems again in this life. However, little stars twinkled in Tian Xian's eyes, as if looking forward to Long Fei and the two of them. Tianqi pouted helplessly. Women are troublesome. He muttered softly. Brother, what did you say? Tianxin asked with a cold face, as if he had sensed what he was thinking. It's nothing, Tianqi said, awkwardly. His eyes dodged, and he didn't dare to meet Tian Xian's eyes. A few days later, Long Fei finally remembered the two of them and returned to the palace. And a few days ago, he also got a second prompt from the system. Accelerate the amount of calamity. And a lot of culpas will be added in a systematic way. All the catastrophes in the heavens are part of the apocalypse catastrophe. A cause of calamity is the constituent factor of the apocalypse calamity. And an apocalypse calamity, the causes of the calamity contained in it, will be innumerable and extremely terrifying. Therefore, if we want to analyze the apocalypse calamity through this conferred God quantitative calamity, we must infinitely magnify this quantitative calamity and make it an infinite calamity. Only in this way can we know more about the secret of receiving the cause. Talk about your thoughts. How can this amount of calamity be infinitely magnified? Long Fei asked. It's very simple. Master, just kill it. According to what you said, the calamity you know is a murder calamity, so we will kill it. Apocalypse said. Long Fei was speechless for a while. Sure enough, he was right to suspect that Tianqi was a catastrophe at the beginning. I'm afraid that he was already used to killing at the beginning, so he would say such stupid words now. If I can kill him at once, I still need to ask you? Just do it yourself. Long Fei said, equals with my current method. If I want to kill someone, who can stand up to it? It's straight up killing people. He is in charge of random killings. And the creatures in this world are in charge of quacking Even a saint can't handle it. Tianqi's face darkened. Obviously, these years of being invincible in the world made his mentality change a lot. Now it was Long Fei's face. He dared to show it. Master, you misunderstood. What I mean is that since this conferred God measuring calamity is a killing calamity, then let it be maximized. According to what you said, the original measuring calamity was just a trick between disciples. Then just be more thorough this time. Let the world's half-saints be soldiers, let the heavenly saints be the generals, and let the heavenly Tao also fall into the catastrophe. In this way, the power of the killing catastrophe will directly increase dramatically. Tianqi said. When Long Fei heard this, his eyes lit up. That being said, it is indeed true. You're right, but I don't think it's enough. If you want to play, then play bigger. I was also robbed. Long Fei's eyes shone brightly. What is the existence of the Tao of Heaven? Long Fei has already guessed in his mind. From Qing Ying's mouth, he already knew that the heavenly Tao saint was already the only half-step incarnation of the Tao of Heaven. He is also extremely powerful. However, it was precisely because of his incarnation of heavenly Tao that he lost his chance to truly become the only one. And he also tried to draw himself out again and again in the calamity and then truly detach himself and become the only one. It's a pity that since Long Fei came in this life, he won't have this chance again. In this life, there will be only one, and there can only be one, and that is Qing Ying. Her own woman hurts herself. Both Tianqi and Tianxin's eyes moved. If Long Fei is robbed, then it is really playing Dafa. They know the strength of Long Fei best, but Long Fei was the only one at the beginning, and then entered the only burial place where he cultivated for endless years, and the extent of his cultivation now is a mystery and cannot be estimated. But what is certain is that he is definitely not the only one. In this case, you should be born too. In the original conferred gods, the saints used the human race as a bargaining chip. If the script does not go wrong, then they should have already started the layout. Then this time you will use DXIN as your body. The predecessors fought with the saints of the heavens. Long Fei said. Now Tianqi's cultivation level is at the 8th level of Tianqi. Relying on this sea of blood, he can reach the 9th level of Tianqi, and the cultivation level of a saint is also the same, although it is stronger than Tianqi, but it is also limited. Long Fei will not worry about this. What about you, Master? Tianqi asked. He wasn't afraid, but he felt that Long Fei's old problem was repeated, and he wanted to retreat behind the scenes to be a hidden black hand, to hang high just like he was in Tianren village back then. Me? I'm naturally going to see what exists in those two places that even you are afraid of. If possible, bring them in. Long Fei said, his eyes flickering. Chapter 5732. Chapter 5732, The Realm of Tianqi, is extremely powerful, and it is not too far away from the unique realm. Although that step is difficult to cross, the power of Tianqi cannot be denied. At least, in this world, it is still extremely powerful. But in his mouth, he is afraid of these two places, and he has never set foot on them until now. That proves the particularity of these two beings. Master, although you are in the only realm now, there is something that I think it is necessary to tell you. Tianqi said. In the past few days, Tianqi and Tianxin didn't have the initial grudge against Long Fei. What are you talking about? Let's listen to it. Long Fei didn't take it seriously and said softly on the eternal throne of Tianqi. Senior Dahai once clicked his tongue when facing these two places and took a deep breath, although he said later it was just like that. But in the end, he abandoned the two places and avoided them. Choose from the nether old group body layout. Tianqi said, but Long Fei got up suddenly. He is not calm anymore. Even the sea is afraid. He still wants to take the initiative to take a look. Don't make trouble. Why does the sea exist? How could it show such emotions? Long Fei looked at Tianqi, but his tone already showed that he was doubting. He regretted it a little now, and felt that he was acting too early this time. But I pretended it all, and if I regret it now, wouldn't it be a bit embarrassing? Apprentice dog, you want to assassinate me every day. If you have such a thing, you should have said it earlier. Let me go now. Long Fei cursed inwardly. These two apprentices who are full of inverse bones. I really want to be expelled from the school on the spot. But that's the truth. At the beginning, I was puzzled, so I asked him a question, and then he became furious and kicked me into the river Styx. Tianqi said with a simple and honest face. What's more, Long Fei didn't know that this was already a knot in his heart, and he still couldn't figure it out until today. Okay, just do it anyway. What did you ask? Long Fei also became interested and asked. I asked him if he was afraid to go. Tianqi said, yes, you deserve it. You survived because of Dahaizai's kindness. Long Fei mocked. Joke. In front of the sea, even he has to be careful when speaking, which is good. Tianqi's face was even more puzzled, and he opened his mouth to say something, but was blocked by Tianxin. Brother, stop talking. Tianxin couldn't stand it anymore. No, I want to say, Master, I don't think you should go. But don't go, force you put it all on. But I think you don't need to care about it. After all, we are our own people, and I still recognize you, Master. Tianqi looked serious. Long Fei's face turned dark, a mass of black lines. The idea of severing the relationship is getting stronger and stronger. Tianqin also directly covered Tianqi's mouth at this time. She was afraid that Tianqi would go on talking. She didn't have to wait for the disaster to come. Long Fei was his disaster. Good disciple, you are right. I actually don't care, but I think you are not good enough, so I decided to take you to practice. Long Fei said with a smile. Tianqi covered his mouth with Tianxin and struggled wow. But at this moment when he heard Long Fei's words, he suddenly became quiet and then shook his head frantically. But he couldn't let him go. Long Fei shot directly, grabbed his shoulder, his figure flickered, and disappeared directly in the field. And at this time in Xianyuan Tomb, the Xianyuan Tomb, 3 demons were restless for a long time. Eldest sister, you said that Anlong has been away for several years. Have you forgotten about us? Fushime said. Her eyes were extremely disappointed. I feel the same way. Sister, do you think that Anlong has something unspeakable to hide, and he is indifferent to us? Pipa Jing said, I don't know either, but I don't think we can sit still. I have felt a strong force enveloped some time ago. If I guessed correctly, it was the catastrophe caused by those immortal masters. The catastrophe now. It is impossible for us to be alone, so I decided to go out to find my benefactor. Nine-tailed Fox said, she is still wiser. When the catastrophe came, she knew that only by staying with Long Fei could she survive. Well, big sister, I listen to you. Me too. The two said one after another. Soon, the figures of the 3 began to walk out of Xianyuan Tomb cautiously, heading towards the intersection of the Nether Blood Sea. Above the 9 heavens, Hua Palace. Although the power system here is different from Long Fei's cognition, some basic conditions here are generally the same. Of course, although the Hua Palace is the Hua Palace to be precise, it should be said that it was created by a star suspended 9 days away. It can be seen that a star is used as a dojo. If compared with the world of conferred gods that Long Fei knew, it was a world of difference. At this moment, Niuhua is in the palace, holding the red wand's thread in his hand. His eyes are gloomy and terrifying. How is it possible? How is it possible? How can the power under my control exceed my control? My Hongwan is tied to one person, and the other side is actually in the land of chaos at this moment. Who is it? Nuwa confusion incomparable. She is a saint of heaven. The heart of a saint is pure with few desires and only the principles of heaven. Ever since they became saints of heaven, Daozu once told them a word, that is, the supreme saint, absolute fairness, is equal treatment. There is no distinction between good and evil. But at this moment, her emotions seemed to be mobilized, and she couldn't calm down no matter what. It was precisely because of this that she was even more irritable in her heart. Of course, there is another point that she controls the marriage between heaven and earth, but at this moment, she finds that her Hongwan is invisibly connected with others. This is the scariest thing for her. Is it him? Yes, it must be him. That place is so terrifying that ordinary people can't avoid it. Even Taoist ancestors have never set foot there. Only he has the courage to go there. But why is there a line of red luan between me and him? Nuwa's expression kept changing. She couldn't figure it out. The power she controlled was out of her control at this moment. No, we must not let the few of them know about this matter. Not even the Taoist ancestor. Nuwa's face calmed down, and she moved her hand immediately, and the red luan's thread was hidden in nothingness. But at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared out of thin air. Is Junior Sister playing with the red line? It's just that I don't know who is lucky enough to let Junior Sister do it herself. A figure in Taoist robes appeared. Senior Brother Yuanshi is here. Nuwa pretended to be calm. Isn't it because of the previous accident that that person appeared for no reason and ruined my plan? Now I can only do it myself, and let the mortal Su Daji do it by himself. Nuwa said lightly. Chapter 57:33. Chapter 57:33. Nuwa looked tired. Well, the only thing that can make Junior Sister worry so much is conferred God quantification calamity. I can't wait for this. After all, the key point of this calamity is that it has not been opened. Yuanshi Tianzuan said, if Long Fei was here, he would definitely be surprised. From what he understood, the relationship between the gods and saints was not very harmonious, especially Nuwa, who has always been a maverick existence, never expected to have such a pleasant conversation with Yuanshi Tianzuan at this moment. But speaking of it, is that person really as mysterious as you said? Under the joint deduction, I couldn't detect any traces, and even Daozu himself did not notice the slightest abnormality. Yuanshi Tianzuan continued. Nuwa's face darkened. What does this mean? Is this suspecting that she is lying? My old lady is almost becoming his. Yet you guys still suspect that this person doesn't exist? In an instant, Nuwa, who had just suppressed her anger, erupted directly. What do you mean? Could it be that you are suspecting that I created something out of nothing and intentionally influenced Chuanjia? Nuwa questioned. Junior Sister misunderstood. How could I have such thoughts? Yuanshi Tianzuan said with a smile. His eyes fell on Nuwa as if he wanted to see through Nuwa's attitude change. Let's go. In the future, I will not welcome you in Wa's palace. Nuwa was furious and immediately issued an order to evict guests. They are all saints of the Tao of Heaven, and I control all the means you control. Under the power of the Tao of Heaven, there is no possibility of hiding from each other. Even if Yuanshi Tianzuan denied it flatly in her perception, she responded in the affirmative. He did doubt it. Moreover, Nuwa even guessed that Yuanshi Tianzuan's arrival was not his intention alone. That is to say, even Daozu is suspicious of her. All of a sudden, a sense of grievance arose in her heart that had never fluctuated throughout the ages. Yuan Tianzuan smiled, embarrassingly. Junior sister doesn't need to be so angry. After all, under this world, there is no existence that can escape the perception of Taoist ancestor. And we, as the saints of the Tao of Heaven, can't find any abnormalities either. So, junior sister, it is hard for us not to doubt this person who is born out of nothing. Since you doubt it, then you can take care of it yourself. I won't be involved. Nuwa's face was gloomy, and she disappeared into Wahuang Palace in a flash. The smile on Yuanshi Tianzuan's face also disappeared at this moment. Humph, a person who is higher than the way of heaven? How could it exist? So, what are you thinking, sister? You still miss the human race? Don't want us to attack the human race? Yuan Tianzuan said coldly, as if deliberately speaking to Nuwa. Generally, the sound is not hidden. However, he didn't wait for a response, so he could only turn around and leave. And just after his figure disappeared, Nuwa's figure reappeared. Missing the human race? Yes, look for Brother Fushi, who has supernatural strength. Maybe he can give me an answer. A look of joy flashed in Nuwa's eyes, and it's like finding a life-saving straw. In an instant, his figure disappeared. But at this moment, Long Fei didn't know this at all. At this time, he was wandering in the depths of chaos with a bitter apocalypse. If you have something to do, just sacrifice it to apocalypse. The so-called apocalypse, worshipping the sky, has boundless magic power, which finally made the anger in Long Fei's heart disappear a bit. However, Long Fei still felt something was wrong. The deeper he went, the more uneasy he felt in his heart. And apocalypse is even worse. Although there is no extremely terrifying existence in this chaos, the power of chaos will erupt from time to time. And this kind of power is quite terrifying in this world system. Face. On the other hand, Long Fei has never made a move, and he looks glamorous. In a flash of time, it seems to have returned to the time when I was in Tianren village. That was the case at that time. Long Fei watched from the side, fighting desperately. Thinking of this, Tianqi's ferocity was also aroused, and he even took the initiative to break away from Long Fei's control and began to actively hunt and kill the power of chaos. Seeing this scene, the expression on Long Fei's face kept changing. This guy. Could it be that the spirit that was tortured by him has gone abnormal? But after thinking about it, Long Fei denied his guess. In any case, it is also the existence of the 8 layers of the apocalypse, and it is also an existence like a ceiling in this world. Moreover, he himself is a robbery. He did not know how many worlds were destroyed at the beginning, so this power will definitely not be against him now. What impact? While thinking about it, Long Fei continued to go deeper. However, this chaos seems to have no end. Even though Long Fei's figure keeps moving forward, there is still no end in sight. System, where is the depth of chaos you mentioned? Long Fei started to contact the system. This is not right. According to his rough calculations, he and Tianqi have been here for several hours now. And with the speed of the two of them, even if they can circle around this world of gods, they still can't feel it. Any horror the place. However, Long Fei believed that that existence must exist. Otherwise, the sea will not be avoided. Ding! The system has detected that the progress of the land of chaos is 10%, and there is still an infinite distance from the depths. The system responded. When Long Fei heard this, his face turned green. 10%. Their speed is only 10% here. It's so weird. He knows his power too well. It is no exaggeration to say that with his current speed, he can even travel through a civilization star field in this origin world. Unexpectedly, in this chaotic land, the progress is less than 10%. How much is the depth? Long Fei asked again. 90% later. The system responded. Long Fei's expression also became serious. Now, he suddenly felt that this time, pretending to be real was really pretending to be big. Because the deeper it went, the stronger the power of chaos. And now, even he could feel that the power of chaos seemed to be able to bring him some damage, although it was not much, but it really existed. If this is the case, I am afraid that in the depths, even the existence of his unique realm may not be able to withstand the power of chaos. What is in the depths of the chaos? Long Fei asked again. The depths of this chaos are full of strangeness. His only realm has a superclass feeling. He thought it was a dimensionality reduction blow, but he didn't expect that in the end, he was the clown. Ding! The system doesn't know. The only thing it can tell the player is that the power in the depths of chaos can help the player deduce the apocalypse. The system voice said, "Wow." Long Fei's expression changed, and he became firm immediately. "Done. Since it is related to the apocalypse tribulation and can help you deduce it, then there is nothing to say, just do it in one word." Thinking of this, Long Fei quickened his pace and caught up with Tianqi in an instant. Chapter 5734. Chapter 5734. It's just that Tianqi at this time seems a bit horrible. His body is already covered with scars. With the reminder from the system, Long Fei could already check the progress directly. 12%. This power can already seriously injure Tianqi. Long Fei murmured in his heart, the power here can still be ignored for him. But the tragedy of Tianqi made him realize the seriousness of the problem. It's no wonder that even the sea is sucking in cold air. In this place, those beings in the only burial ground will have to smoke when they come. Long Fei thought to himself, the reason why he is full of confidence is because of what he has gained in the only burial place. Although he is also the only realm, but the unique realm also has strengths and weaknesses. He didn't know how big the gap was between himself and the sea, but the only thing he could be sure of was that he was stronger than those beings in the only burial place. Look at it, it's not enough. This is also a kind of tempering for this kid. This power pours into his body, which can temper his strength. Maybe his strength can make another breakthrough as he walks, directly breaking through to next level. Long Fei thought in his heart, and Tianqi is also tough, and he didn't even say a word of begging for mercy. In a blink of an eye, the progress bar reached 20%. Here, Tianqi's physical body began to collapse, and his soul screamed. 30%. Tianqi's physical body has collapsed 4 times, but Long Fei took the initiative to reshape it. Before he knew it, his cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level of the apocalypse. 40% of the time, Tianqi's physical body collapsed 108 times, and his soul was annihilated dozens of times. However, with Long Fei here, he will settle everything directly for him. And at the position of this progress bar, Tianqi's cultivation has finally broken through, directly reaching the 9th level of Tianqi. This also means that Apocalypse will be in existence in the world of conferred gods, relying on his own strength, which can be compared to the existence of a sage of heaven. Moreover, this kind of combat power is absolute combat power, which is fundamentally different from the power of the heavenly Tao saint that can only be obtained by relying on the heavenly Tao. It is not an exaggeration to say that if Tianqi fights with the Tiandao sage now, if the Tiandao sage does not use the power of the heavenly way, he will have to get down in front of Tianqi. It seems that this power is really not simple. It's just a pity that it still doesn't hurt me in any way, but I don't know if my power can be tempered after reaching the depths. Long Fei thought in his heart, gradually gave birth a little bit of anticipation. Keep going. Soon, 50%. This 10% process completely wiped out Apocalypse, and even Long Fei became a free laborer. Along the way, just to help him reunite his physical body, Long Fei made hundreds of thousands of shots and countless souls until the end Long Fei was directly numb. And Tianqi's cultivation base has also improved, reaching the middle stage of Tianqi 9 layers, and Qingying is to give levels. It's just that Tianqi didn't dare to continue when he got here. Master, I can't do it anymore. I keep going. I'm afraid that my body will be shattered and my soul will be completely annihilated. At that time, even if Master takes action, it will have a great impact on my cultivation of mind. So now, if we can get here, the rest of the road depends on Master himself. Tianqi said with a face of pleading, an expression of pain and joy. For him, this time is really a big fortune. Of course, even the anti-flying is more and more respected. If it wasn't for Long Fei, he wouldn't be able to take this step at all, and he would have even fallen on the road long ago. TSK Tisk, it's a good thing you said it. If you don't say it, I'm almost exhausted. I'm either saving you along the way, or I'm on the way to save you. I'm numb. Long Fei said. Embarrassment flashed across Tianqi's face. But he didn't deny it, because in fact it is. You just stay here to temper, and when you get used to this power completely, you can go back, and I will do the rest of the way by myself. Long Fei said, with curiosity in his eyes. Tianqi nodded heavily, as if he had received an amnesty. He waited for Long Fei's words for too long. So at this moment, there was no need for Long Fei to tell him. He flickered, and his figure retreated 10,000 feet away. That distance gave him a sense of security, and he waved his hands away. Trash. Long Fei ignored it, turned around, and continued on. He knew that this part of the road was just playing with Tianqi, and the next road was his own journey. Come on, no matter what is in this depth, it can't stop my footsteps. I have come, I have conquered. Long Fei laughed wildly, and immediately walked across the chaos like stepping on the sky. 60%, 70, 80, 90, all the way forward. The power here seems to be unable to stop Long Fei at all. When Long Fei released his own breath, he was already the natural nemesis of that kind of power, and they didn't even dare to get close to Long Fei. In just an instant, Long Fei almost filled up the progress bar. But at 90% of the time, Long Fei's pace also slowed down, because he knew that after this step, he could enter the depths of chaos in bursts. I want to see what kind of power this is. Long Fei's eyes were firm, and he stepped directly into it in one step. But in an instant, Long Fei felt a sense of oppression, as if he was in a closed space, where there was no distinction between turbidity and light and darkness blended together. That kind of oppressive feeling made Long Fei feel like he couldn't breathe smoothly. But Long Fei's footsteps still did not stop and continued to move forward. A little bit of influence, but not much. Long Fei put down his harsh words and kept moving forward, and the progress bar also began to fill up at a speed visible to the naked eye. After a few breaths, Long Fei had reached 95%. But at this moment, Long Fei felt even more painful. Countless light and dark forces rushed wildly, and that force poured into his body, which made him feel pain as if it wanted to tear him apart. It's finally interesting, but the aura contained in this power has nothing to do with chaos, but has to do with robbery. Long Fei's eyes flashed brightly. At this moment, he finally understands why even the Taoist ancestors of this world dare not set foot here easily. Here, there is a calamity hidden, a kulpa that existed in this world from the beginning of creation. Open the sky catastrophe. Since there is a robbery here, the most important thing for me is to find the cause of the robbery. In other words, I have already received the final reward before my mission started. Long Fei thought again, becoming more excited. So, he gritted his teeth and moved on. As for some pain, he can completely ignore it. He, Long Fei, will be strong all his life, and even if he snorts this bit of pain, he will be considered a loser. Finally, under the blessing of this kind of belief, Long Fei's figure continued to move forward, and finally the progress bar was full to 99%. At this time, Long Fei's physical body had also collapsed dozens of times, and his soul had been annihilated more than a dozen times. However, this is also a kind of temper for Long Fei. Unfortunately, this place is not very useful to me. Otherwise, if I repeatedly get stuck in the bug here, surpass the sea, and crush the dragon Batian, it will happen in minutes. Long Fei thought regretfully in his heart. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.